Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Heroes Hearth TFT Fight Night. We are 1 week into the ranked season of Set 2, so we get to see, how well these players have climbed already, but they're here tonight to compete, obviously, in Fight Night. It will be the 4 games, and we'll have a new winner tonight, because Rayditz cashed out the bounty last week, so we're seeing a bunch of new players tonight. And I'm excited to see the action. But alongside me here, we have Casanova. How you doing tonight, bud?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm doing quite all right. I'm excited for some more TFT action this week. As you said, we won't be seeing a returning champ this week. Or will we? Because we do have Faye returning, a multi-time winner from Fight Night. However, not coming off of the streak right now. But we'll see if she can come back and regain her title of champ here today. A couple other returning players as well. DXN, Sphinx, and Professsor TFT, I believe, all returning, while the other 4, some new challengers approaching. Chicken with Boba, Rissakah, ZZ Rick, and DV8 coming in to test their mettle here against some of our kind of staple players that we've had here on Fight Night, especially with Faye and DXN.
Yeah, and Faye returning off of a fresh win for the OEL Season 0, I believe that was. So yeah, there was a bunch of weeks of competition. I think it was like 5 weeks of league play, and then a grand finals of 7 games where Faye took first place. So I bet she's not feeling too bad coming to this week on riding that high. Yeah, that's a lot of competition, and it doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's going to see if she can continue to ride that momentum into Fight Night this week as we jump into game number 1 right away here. But make sure that you guys keep an eye out on that bounty, which has been reset as Rayditz did cash out. So if you go ahead and donate bits, it all goes to the players and the crew here at Fight Night, with 20% going to the bounty and 60% to the top 4 finishers. Go ahead and cheer for your favorite players here. Cheer for who you want to see win. And yeah, we're going into that first carousel.
All right, yeah, seeing what these players have prioritized. It seems with Set 2, a bit of the first item prioritization has changed a little bit. It also depends on the map types. We are on an Inferno map this game, so that Hex will be giving 30% attack speed to a unit standing within it. You see Chicken with Boba grabbing a tier. Professsor TFT scouting a bit of other players. Yeah, I see an assortment of a bunch of different items, but maybe we'll see some attack damage based compositions this map with the Inferno Hex. We will see. There is also the popularity of Ocean Mage during this meta as well. I'd be curious to see what compositions these players will prioritize. I see ZZ Rick here. I have a couple of Predators being offered. A few Predators, actually. Already has a Rek'Sai, Kog'Maw, and Warwick available, but also some Woodland Druids.
Yeah, we'll see if he picks that up or if he decides to stay. Well, no, he will have enough gold to grab that after this round, most likely. And look for maybe the hyper rolling strategy if he keeps rolling, getting into these Predator pickups. Of course, for people who maybe haven't watched Fight Night in the past or are looking to get into competitive TFT, we do have the Infernal board right here if you want to go ahead and give them a little bit of a breakdown on that, so that people can maybe learn a thing or two here from our resident Cloud9 player.
Yeah, the Inferno board. Oh, see 3 Maokais by Rissakah, wowee. But yeah, the Inferno board will give 30% attack speed to any unit standing the Hex. It also means Kiana during this map will be an Inferno unit for maybe a player trying to go for that 3 Inferno synergy and also play the Kiana, since she is a pretty strong unit. Yeah, things that are good in this map are attack-based, auto-attack-based units, maybe like a Nocturne, or maybe even a Kog'Maw and a Predator composition could get a lot of value in that Inferno Hex. But things such as that, you could still get value off of putting your mages there. I mean, attacking faster means you get mana faster, so no matter what you gonna put in there, it's gonna get some value.
Yeah, and Sphinx we see with the tier 2 Vladimir, just that placed on the Inferno Hex, giving him that attack speed so he can get more of those transfusions off here in the early game. That Ocean Mage able to do quite a bit of damage early on. Sphinx may be looking to find that early win streak, as we have seen be so successful throughout the past few weeks of Fight Night, of just the people getting those early win streaks, kind of transitioning those into wins with this set too.
Yeah, preserving your HP is very important. Later on in the game, you start taking a lot of damage, during stage, 5 or 6 later on. That is how much damage you will take baseline if you lose the round. So players definitely want to build a bit of an early lead, and Sphinx is looking to do just that here, leveling up to level 4 on round 2-1, the first PvP round. You usually won't see players do that all that often, so Sphinx really wanting to do just that and get a good start to this game. Has a Nocturne as well, actually. It's really early to find the Nocturne, and Assassin Blade Master is one of the strongest compositions right now. So if he finds a Spatula to make that Blade Master item, he'll be insanely strong going into this mid game.
Yeah, he's got a couple options on his board already. He's got the Ocean Mage, and as well he's got the Assassins for the Blade Master Assassin later on. You did talk about the Nocturne on this Infernal map, and he is able to pick that up, and he places it directly onto the Inferno Hex, getting definitely paying attention to what's good here, paying attention to the map that he is on, and able to kind of create a very strong board early on. And we're going to see what he's going to be able to do with that, see if he can transition into one of those powerful comps as he is offered different units here, and see if he can keep that win streak.
Yeah, speaking of different units here, DXN has a lot of different units on the bench here, and most of them being pairs.
Yeah.
Has Kog'Maws, Warwicks, Ornns, Volies, and a pair of Iverns. Is above 10 gold, so DXN not opting to want to roll there to try to find a pair, is okay with taking a bit of damage. I mean, he is in 8th place right now, but as soon as he hits those pairs, he will have a pretty good power spike. I mean, he's on Druid Woodlands, have a really strong early game. Unfortunate, didn't hit.
See that one.
Yeah, didn't hit any pairs there.
Yeah, sitting on, I believe that is 5 different pairs of units.
Yeah.
And not able to hit a single one of them. Definitely hate to see it there, bud. DXN not having a good time in this early game. But if he can start finding those pairs on his next pull or the pull after that, he should be able to stabilize and hopefully find his way back into this one. It doesn't look too worse for wear as far as gold is concerned yet, but you definitely don't want to be hemorrhaging too much early on, especially if you're going to lose. You don't want to be losing too much HP. But he should be able to get the early pick on the carousel coming up, because I don't expect he'll win this round either. So maybe he can use that to turn it into a little bit of an advantage for him overall and swing it back into his favor. ZZ Rick losing to Faye here. Faye with a pretty strong early game comp here already. Tier 2 LeBlanc and Tier 2 Diana.
Yeah, as well as Tier 2 Ivern as well, I believe, with a couple other Woodlands. So already have that Druid Woodland synergy. Yeah, and that Tier 2 2-cost unit, which a lot of players will definitely not have at this point in the game. But yeah, Faye and Sphinx sitting up here at the top at 100 HP, going to be picking last in the carousel. That Spat was picked up by Tutoru. So we shall see what they decide to do with that one. Spatulas, I mean, they're usually either used for Force of Nature to have an extra unit, Blade Master spatulas, or Blade Master items, or Mage items, perhaps I've seen, because Ocean Mage still is a good composition right now, so I'll be curious to see what they try to do with that one. Yeah, Faye looking at her own board here, yeah, pretty strong right now.
Sells the Kindred to go up to 10 gold, get the extra income there, the extra economy. Picks up the other Kindred off of the carousel and puts that one in.
Yep. Has a couple of Infernos, couple of Assassins right now, so maybe looking to find another one of those units and play another synergy, but for now she's satisfied doing this. It's level 5 right now after this carousel, which a lot of players will do if they're not trying to hyper roll or just save up their money. But Faye looking really strong this early game. Fighting Sphinx, the other 100 HP player, though. So if she's going to take damage, this will be the round that she would.
Yeah, both of these players kind of hate to see this one. Well, they do until they win, basically, because this is basically the worst person to run into, the two strongest people on the board. So you're definitely trying to avoid them. But at the end of the day, for Faye, it ends up being a very good thing, because not only does she continue her win streak, but she shuts down the win streak of Sphinx, which is going to give her the ability to snowball this game a little bit harder. She is running that Woodland Druid kind of combo right now, which has a very strong early game, but takes a dip and falls off quite quickly in the mid and late game. So she'll have to find something to transition into rather rapidly. But with the amount of gold she's pulling in off of the win streaking, I think she'll be able to do that just fine. She does have plenty of tier 2 units already, kind of giving her that buffer while she finds the better units to put in.
Indeed, yeah, you can ride Woodlands past stage 3, maybe even into a bit of stage 4, but definitely after stage 4 is when you're going to want to have all of them into new units, whatever your comp is going to be. You want to be able to find those units at that point. But we do see Deviate opting to make that Blade Master Spatula for the Nocturne, but still taking a lot of damage here in the early game. It's already at 71 HP before the Krugs. Not really a great start, but hopefully we'll be able to find some Blade Masters, find a tier 2 Nocturne, because once that tier 2 Nocturne power spike has been hit, that'll definitely be carrying the mid game for Deviate here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yet another player opting to go towards these Nocturnes on the Infernal map. Of course, it is a strong unit, regardless of the map, with that Blade Master Assassin synergy, but especially strong on this Infernal map with that attack speed hex.
Of course, yeah. And Chicken with Boba here with some Inferno units has a Shojin's and a Jeweled Gauntlet for that spell critical. The Zyra plants can crit if Zyra does have a Jeweled Gauntlet, so that's a neat little interaction there. Chicken with Boba making Zyra the early game carry, which is pretty good. Actually, the rank 1 player in North America, Delicious Milk GG, runs a lot of Ocean Mages, and until he finds the brand, has Zyra be the main carry there. So Chicken with Boba, obviously knowing this is a good strategy and looking to pull that one out, is a bit low on HP right now because maybe there's a bit of lack of frontline on her composition right now. Just has like a tier 2 Vladimir as the frontline. That's not really going to be that effective, but hopefully still the Zyra can pull some wins here for Chicken with Boba.
We even saw it there, even in this early game, that tier 2 Zyra dealing quite a bit of damage with those plants. They were springing up, and each of the plants, obviously, as you mentioned, can crit with that Jeweled Gauntlet. And we saw about 375 damage from an auto attack from one of the plants coming off of the crit. So very, very high DPS output as soon as that ultimate ability is used.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Again, Zyra can definitely carry an early game, so curious to see just how far that will go. Faye facing Deviate here. A good Zephyr onto the Nocturne. This will probably be a win, but we'll see. I mean, there is Blade Masters on the side of Deviate now.
But yeah, Faye still has a pretty powerful comp here early on. The tier 2 Nico being added as well. Not sure when she picked up the tier 2 variation, but again, it's just adding more and more power to Faye's early game. And she's riding this win streak at 6 already, up to 50 gold. She does, she leveled up there. Okay, that's almost missed it. But she levels up to level 6 here, spends a little bit of gold. Actually going to go down a lot more gold than I expected her to there, dropping down to about 25 gold here. She may sell some of that to go back up to 30 before the next round.
Might look to go into Ocean Mage Summoners, it seems. I mean, Annie is a very important part of that composition. Already has a pair of Nautiluses as well. We'll probably end up eventually selling that Kindred, or she could go the Kindred variant of Ocean Mages. I know there's like a 2 shadow variant of that players will sometimes go, so Faye probably looking for something like that. Facing DXN here, who's level 5, has some
the Diana doesn't get her ult off, but I think Annie's Tibbers coming out here is going to be plenty. Was a little bit closer than expected. DXN still a little bit behind, falling pretty low at 65 HP, but Faye still able to find these wins and keeping that streak rolling, while Deviate on the opposite side of that has a 7-loss streak compared to Faye's 7-win streak. Still, you know, making some econ with that, but doesn't have much money to his name currently. Finding the tier 2 Nocturne, though. It's a pretty big pickup for him. Tier 2 Yasuo as well is up to 4 Blade Masters.
Yeah, and 4 Blade Masters
can start turning around a little bit.
4 Blade Masters and a tier 2 Nocturne at this point is exactly what Deviate needs, so hopefully he'll be able to pull out some wins here. I think that he should be able to. I mean, Nocturne doesn't have any other items, and he's sitting on 4 items in the bench here. I would like to see those tiers go into a Seraph's Embrace for that Kha'Zix. I think it's just by far the best item for Kha'Zix.
We'll see if Nocturne can win this round. It's going to be kind of close. He's getting stunned up. Yeah, he will go down to the LeBlanc there. But yeah, I mean, the Infernal Hex helping out the fact that he only has the 1 item for the Nocturne. It gives him essentially a second item that is quite strong for that champion, but not having anything else on the board is definitely hurting him. It really felt like Nocturne pretty much just did everything there, and he didn't have a comp around it at all. It was pretty much just Nocturne versus the entire team. So I agree with you. Just getting those items out onto somebody here, as you mentioned, maybe a Seraph's onto the Kha'Zix could be a good choice here. Just to give a little bit more power to his comp and kind of help turn around this loss streak. I don't know if he wants to stay on the loss streak anymore. He is at 8. It is, of course, going to be bringing in some extra gold for him that he will lose if he wins, but he's dropping dangerously low at this point. There we go. A couple of items going to be put out. That's a red buff and a hush onto the Sivir.
I see. Yeah, it's only a tier 1 Sivir. I'd be definitely more comfortable doing that if the Sivir was tier 2. Might just, you know, get sneezed on and fall over and die, considering Sivir at tier 1 has very, very low HP. But we'll see if this ends up working out. Items were used, and that was the main concern that I had, that there were just items sitting on the bench, but has decided to make those. Facing DXN here, DXN with these Predators. Looks like the Nocturne is going to be strong enough to deal with it. Yeah, most of the composition dying.
Sivir stayed up the entire time, having good uptime. Didn't do a ton of damage, but I do assume that there were some hush procs. I didn't actually notice any myself, but being able to have all the full uptime of the entire round to put out damage, even as the tier 1, being able to do a fair bit herself. So
yeah,
definitely good here. That's a Nasus with quite a few items there for Rissakah. That was, I believe, a Spear of Shojin, and I think
Morello's and
it was a Morello's. I thought it was a Morello's. I just wanted to confirm before I said it, but yeah, that's Spear of Shojin and Morello's is alongside that Zephyr. What do you make of this item build for Nasus? Is this normal or not?
So Nasus is one of those units that players will opt to just throw items on early and then sell Nasus probably after the Wolves round. That's probably when Rissakah will look to sell that. Put maybe Shojins and Morello's onto a Syndra, perhaps. Definitely wants to find a brand before swapping those items over. So probably Rissakah will look to go to level 7 after Wolf round. Will look to roll down all of her gold, try to find that brand. Yeah, big hit from Deviate there, though, that Nocturne. Oh, yeah, has a tier 2 Aatrox now as well. So, you know, a bit of tier 2 frontline to go with the tier 2 damage dealer there with Nocturne. So yeah, Rissakah's composition kind of fell over there.
Deviate quietly getting a lot stronger. If he's able to find that tier 2 Sivir as well to add a little bit more oomph to the damage output of his composition, that would be huge. But yeah, of course, Rissakah does have the makings for a good composition. Just has to find a couple more pieces to fall in line for her. And as you said, she can move those items onto one of her hyper carries later on into the game as long as she can stabilize. Sphinx here. It's got don't see his board, but we've got go on to there we go. The Olaf, that's what I was looking at. Yeah. So we've got the Berserker's comp for Sphinx. It looks like he will be trying to stack that Olaf. I know you did mention this composition earlier as being potentially something that we could see today. It's something that's less common, But if he does find the pieces and can stack this Olaf up, it can be very powerful.
Yeah, I would say Olaf isn't really a S tier composition, but maybe like a B plus tier, A minus tier sort. If you can get that going, Olaf with the Berserkers and the Glacials can disable a whole team, or at least disable the important units. Oh man, Zizirek struggling to fit all of these on the bench here. Okay, finding some upgrades.
There we go.
This is interesting actually. So Zizirek here is hyper rolling for Renekton and Woodlands. Probably going to look to go a couple of Assassins after these Woodlands are completed. I know with the Renekton, you can then fit in a Kha'Zix and get a free Desert Synergy, as well as maybe a Nocturne as well. Probably one of the best Assassins. Definitely one of the best Assassins right now.
This Renekton is a beast, though. I mean, look at him go. Because of that Cold and Meek, he's just constantly pumping out a ton of damage and healing back up to full. Faye's still pretty strong, even though she has started to fall off already with her composition, not quite finding the transition yet that she needs. But definitely still no slouch of a composition, just falling over to that Renekton.
Yeah, no, Renekton's a really good unit in the early game, and if you get him to tier 3, I mean, it's going to be insane. And now to pair with this tier 3 Renekton, it's going to be a tier 3 Maokai and Ivern.
Oh, jeez. This is a huge spike for Zizirek right now. This will eventually fall off later on into the game, but for right now, he should start to win streak very hard with all of these T3 units. Yeah, especially, I mean, of course, this Renekton is just a monster in there.
Yeah, it is getting healing debuffed by Kindred right now, but Kindred can't do enough to this whole composition. There's so much HP, and there's HP regen because of the Druids. Yeah, it's going to be hard for anybody to take down Zizirek at this current time. Like I said, it will eventually get outscaled, but not for now. It's so strong right now.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to kind of ramp up his economy now that he's stabilized with all those tier 3s. Gonna probably win for a little while here. As we look at DXN, though, he has the tier 3 Kog'Maw. He does have his Predators out here. He has picked up a Nocturne. It looks like he will be trying to grab that, maybe just to keep the Steel Synergy with his Rek'Sai, as well as Nocturne just being a very powerful unit in itself.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these Predator compositions will look to go 2 steals with that Nocturne. Facing, I believe it's Chicken the Boba here, because that Jeweled Gauntlet Zyra.
Yeah.
Kog'Maw, though, doing a lot of work in the backline here.
Yeah, but this Zyra pumping out a ton of damage. I'd love to see what it was. We're going to see DXN's point of view. The Kog'Maw did plenty of damage, but that was quite a chunk coming out of the Zyra. Really showing what you talked about a lot, as you said, Delicious Milk being the #1 on the ladder, I believe, right now. Running that composition a lot, teching in that Zyra for the early game until you find the brand. And it's working really well for Chicken with Boba here. She was dropping very low early on in the game, but ever since she got that Zyra up, put some items on it, she's really been kind of stabilizing, winning a lot more rounds, and kind of climbed her way back up to this 4th place position right now. Definitely looking good for her to maybe get a placement in this game, maybe even turn it into a win if she can find the brands later on and transition this comp into the full late game potential.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work that these players are going to be doing in terms of finding their end game comps around this round 4-5, and then after the Raptors. If you look at the HP numbers, Sphinx at 61, DXN is a bit on the low end at 28, but overall these players are pretty even in terms of the HP right here. So yeah, it's just gonna be the decisions, the scouting, what they happen to find on their roll downs to determine their placements this game. It's going to be a close one.
Speaking of brands, we have Professsor TFT actually picks up a brand here, trying to find his tier 2 brand. He already has 2 of them so far, just needs 1 more. Very powerful unit right now.
Doesn't have mages, though. Brandon's the only mage on the board here for Professsor TFT, facing Zizirek, and yeah, Zizirek's composition is still pretty good right now.
No, it slaps, dude. It slaps for sure. Is that a tier? Wait, is that a tier 3 LeBlanc too?
Yeah, ZZRIC was one away from the tier 3 LeBlanc and happened to hit that. Yeah, Professsor TFT down to 21 HP now after that one. A little unfortunate. Players do not run into ZZRIC right now on a 4-win streak, and that'll probably keep going for at least another few rounds.
Yeah, with 4 tier 3 units, I start to wonder if he will actually get outscaled or if this game might accelerate quick enough for this to last. I think at this point, he's fairly committed. He's just going to have to start finding a couple of other strong units that he can tech in as he levels up, as he is at 50 gold, but he's got nothing on his bench to transition to yet. So it's really going to come down to what he can draw as he's going through and keeping this economy up. But right now, his comp is strong enough to kind of roll on through. I was saying this, and it started to look bad for a second against DXN, but it quickly turned in ZZRIC's favor. The Kog'Maw got a bunch of people pretty low to that Predator threshold with the Runaan's Hurricane on. So there was an opportunity for it to really pop off there, get a couple kills, but no, not going to happen. And ZZRIC's going to continue with this win streak, turning it around to a 5-win streak. Professsor TFT dropping very low, though, down to 7. What can he do to stabilize here? He is on that chickens round. I'm going to have to see what he's going to be able to pick up.
Yeah, not quite sure. Maybe it seems like the comp wants to do a lot of different things from Professsor TFT right now. He's taking the time to scout right now to see what direction he wants to go into, but has a few summoners. Generally, Brand with mages is good to pair with summoners, but doesn't have mages. Still running a Renekton. I mean, Renekton's a pretty decent unit, but at this point in the game, only Renekton 2 is probably outscaled. Finds another Spatula, so could make a mage. We'll see exactly what Professsor TFT wants to do. I would consider trying to roll that brand too and go mages. Put that Shojins on the brand. I mean, don't have a lot of items, but gotta make use with what you got here.
We see him pick up a couple of units here, probably just trying to increase the chances that he finds what he wants. Gonna sell the Renekton off, puts in a Zed.
Okay,
gonna make it a mage.
Yeah, I would probably consider taking off them.
Well,
okay, I would consider taking it off the Hex and putting a PD on that Zed, but we'll see. Besides to put the PD,
see if this is enough though.
Ooh, let's put the PD on the Yorick instead. Not sure if it'll be enough. The Zed does get Zephyr'd. It's in the corner, not doing much right now.
Yeah, he's on 7 HP as well. The Zed finally getting some uptime. Gonna see if it can pop off here. A lot of the electric procs coming out. Gonna start to get a few summons off. And it looks like it was enough. Faye's comp starting to feel a lot weaker as she's kind of getting turned around from the start where she was winning very hard, down to 28 HP herself. But meanwhile, we lose DXN, and Chicken with Boba drops down to 7 HP. Maybe not able to find the transition that she was looking for into the brand. Yeah, still has not found a brand at all. Still sticking with the Zyra. Has the Shadow Summoner for Shadow 3 Summoner.
Yeah, it does have Kindred 3 though, actually. That's pretty insane. Has the 4 Shadows, is running that Nautilus and Thresh for the bit of front line with a couple of Oceans there. Only a Zyra 2 though. We'll see if this is the round where she will get eliminated or if she can survive a bit longer. Faces Rissakah and gets the Zephyr onto the Kindred, actually. It's not what Chicken Boba wants to see here.
Yeah, and Rissakah does have that tier 2 brand in the backline, absolutely ripping through the composition of Chicken with Boba. And that's probably going to do it for her on this round, but we did see a very strong showing out of her. Just felt like she didn't quite hit the units that she needed to transition into her late game, so that's going to be a 7th place in the first game, but there are 3 more games to come back, and with our new system, the comeback mechanics are a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah, and placements matter, you know, you get a different amount of points for every single placement. So 7th, obviously a bit better than 8th, unfortunately for DXN. But yeah, Chicken Boba 7th. Professsor TFT hanging on that round with 1 HP. Barely lost. Still is on a brand 1. Has some Infernos now with that Lux. Decided to play that.
We see Professsor TFT. He knows that this is not long for this world. He's trying to go hide in the corner and hope that Faye will go out at this round first. We're going to have to see as he runs into Sphinx here. His Zed has already fallen. That's most of his DPS. We'll see if anything else can kind of hang on and keep him alive in this round. He's still got the Yorick up with quite a few items, but it looks like Sphinx is going to be able to take him down here. Professsor TFT needs to try and run away. No, Faye had already won the round. He probably noticed in the corner that it was lost. And that's going to be 6th place for him. Able to hang on an extra round, though, and it was important here. It did help him secure one additional placement, as you did state. All placements matter. The scores are different for each one. So the 6th place in this round definitely could help him out in the future of the rest of this fight night.
Yeah, that it very well could. Deviate losing last round as well, falling to 2 HP here. Want to check in with these players, see exactly what they're running. We see Rissakah with 6 Mage, 2 Mountain, 3 Oceans, and 2 Wardens. Don't see a lot of players going for the 6 Mages, but she does opt to it. It is working out for her. She's currently sitting at 3rd place with 14 HP. Sphinx getting that Zed too. That's pretty good. Yeah, ZZ Rick does go for the Assassin. Assassin Ivern, actually. Interesting.
Grabs the Kiana as well, gets that to tier 2.
Yeah.
Able to, Assassin Ivern. We're going to see that one.
And I'm pretty sure the round that ZZ Rick found the Maokai 3 and the Ivern 3, he has not lost since. He's on an 8 win streak right now, facing Rissakah, and his comp is scary. Rissakah does not want to be, this matchup is not the one that she wants.
Yeah, Rissakah's composition looks very scary as well, but these assassins actually do get into the backline and kill off some very important mages for Rissakah's composition, and that's going to cost her the round, absolutely. The Brand not able to get any ultimates off there, it seemed like, and Rissakah's barely going to hang on, but that's huge, the fact that she's able to stay alive here, because we see DV8 at 2 HP as well, Rissakah at 3, Faye at 8, but Rissakah's composition, I think, is strong enough to beat most of the other compositions left in this game. Just as long as she doesn't run into ZZ Rick, she should be able to increase her placement a little bit here. Faye and DV8 definitely on death's door as well, and Sphinx kind of quietly has kind of stabilized with his Olaf composition. We'll see if he can continue to hang on or if he's going to end up running into the wrath of ZZ Rick. But Rissakah going to run into a clone army. That's love to see that if you're Rissakah. Should be able to keep her alive for another round, and it'll be up to DV8 and Faye to also stay alive, or else they're going to be down in 5th place here. We shall see if anyone falls. Faye is against ZZ Rick. Definitely hate to see that if you're Faye, but so far this isn't looking too terrible. The LeBlanc is still alive in the background, but Faye still has a lot of summoners up, hoping the Malzahar can continue to pop off and create more of those Voidlings. But still, this Renekton in the front line just constantly getting these Cull the Meeks off. And there's so many summons that he's hitting with the ability, allowing him to heal even more. And Faye's going to go down. I believe that's 5th. Yet, no. DV8 died first. And Faye is able to go out at 4th. So still going to get some extra points there for hanging on so long in that round. But interesting how the summoners are countered by the tier 3 Renekton. Constantly getting additional healing by hitting those Voidlings.
Yeah, there was the insane Renekton in the front and the LeBlanc in the back. LeBlanc with that rapid fire cannon just sitting back there and just shooting for the whole fight with Renekton tanking. That was super, super strong. But yeah, like you said, those summons that Renekton keep healing off of, definitely important for him. ZZ Rick on a 10 win streak now. Has been econing this whole time. Yeah, is about to level next turn. Is with 50 gold still in the bank. I'm not sure anyone will be able to take out ZZ Rick, but I think Sphinx might be the one to do it. I'm not sure if Rissakah can. She just did go to level 9 though, so I'm curious to see what she picks up. She's doing a bit of scouting right now on the Sphinx. Has a redemption that she got there on. Okay, it has 4 oceans, so 4 oceans, 6 mage. I mean, that's where you want to be with this composition. We'll see if it is enough. Has a thresh to put in there.
Yeah, the difficult part for her composition right now is running into ZZ Rick with his assassins getting into the backline. But for now, she's going to run into Sphinx. He's got this Olaf, the tier 1 Olaf. So really the Mundo and the Poison has been carrying for him, it seems like. And they're pumping the front line. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Zed, I didn't even notice. It gets in the backline, but Brand's going to get an ult off, and that's going to be a lot of damage going on to Sphinx. Rissakah's composition is still so strong. It's just a matter of if she can hang on long enough to protect this backline from ZZ Rick and make her way back up to second or maybe even first in this game.
Yeah, it is possible. I mean, going to level 9, that's going to be your power spike. You can't get any higher level than that. Like I said, the 6 mage, the 4 oceans, it's only a battle of positioning and scouting right now. So it depends on who faces who this next round. It might be ZZ Rick and Sphinx, or it could be Rissakah and ZZ Rick. We will see, however, momentarily as we get into this round.
If she can hang on just a little bit longer, she's going to go against ZZ Rick. But if she can hang on, she has a spatula that could maybe become something else. Yeah, we do have the Zephyr down onto an important target here. See if we can get some of these ultis out from the mages. We're going to see the Cataclysm for Brand come down, and that's going to put a lot of damage onto the front line. Going to be able to pick up a couple of kills. The Syndra going to throw down a couple of those orbs as well. Oh, wow. And Rissakah's going to hang on, going to win this round. And that bodes really well for the game for her, as she's kind of hit this high tier power spike. She's not going to get much stronger, but ZZ Rick is still sitting on all those tier 3 units, and he may not get much stronger either. He does have a lot of gold to spend, however, and will be able to try and find some answers. But Sphinx is out of gold as well. He only has what he's got on the board, and that was not enough to beat Rissakah previously. So we're going to see if he can in the future, but right now it looks like Sphinx is going to be the one who's in the most trouble right now. Rissakah has a spatula. If she can live to the next carousel, she may be able to pick up another one and maybe even add a 10th unit to the board, maybe find some more synergies. Going to go against a clone army right now. This should be easy enough for her. Maybe we'll see if Sphinx can hold on and pull off a win against ZZ Rick here. He's going to have the Mundo in the middle of everything, trying to keep alive as long as possible, but so far, it's looking like ZZ Rick will hold on and take it. That Renekton is massive. If he did not stay alive and pick up that kill on the Zed, it would have been the win for Sphinx, but it looks like instead this will potentially...
The Mundo has Iceborne and Warmogs, but no,
not quite enough, and it is going to be the end for Sphinx. Rissakah is going to continue to hold on all the way up to second, and we may see her end up getting first here. She's going to rush out and try and grab, maybe she was going for that Yomu's Ghostblade, but looks like going to pick up that Jeweled Gauntlet, I believe that is, in order to get some crits on her spells as well. I'm not sure who has the open slots. It looks like maybe... who would you put this on?
Not sure. I could see an argument for LeBlanc, Nami, or Vigar, perhaps. Yeah, it does decide to put it on Vigar, but ZZ Rick did have a bit of gold to work with, and it seems that ZZ Rick is spending all of that gold right now to find these upgrades. Found a tier 2 Kha'Zix. Yeah. Yumu's for 6 assassins.
6 assassins. That's 6 assassins. Pretty huge for ZZ Rick, as he does need to pick up some kills onto these mages. We're going to see this fight go down. He is able to get some crits on the back line. The Nami going to get a huge tsunami across everybody. Brand gets a Cataclysm off, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough so far. Malphite trying to peel back a little bit, but yeah, going to get run over by the 6 assassins, but still a really, really good plays coming from Rissakah to kind of hang on. Was at low HP for such a long time, but able to stabilize all the way up to second place. But ZZ Rick, of course, huge props to him. Didn't hyper roll necessarily very early. He just kind of was steadily rolling with a decent amount of income as he made his way up to those tier 3 units. Absolutely insane composition. The 4 tier 3s. I thought it was going to get outscaled a little bit earlier than it did, but I think with just that much power that he had, it was able to maintain itself throughout the rest of the game. Just really well played from ZZ Rick.
Yeah, definitely. I think ZZ Rick transitioned exactly how he needed to have the power that he needed throughout every point of the game after he got that Maokai and Ivern 3 to pair with the Renekton 3, eventually find LeBlanc, and then going into 6 assassins. But yeah, Rissakah played that game extremely well, I think. I don't usually see the 6 mage variant, but it worked out very well for her. Had the mountains for the shielding as well. I'm sure that definitely saved her a couple of rounds. 1500 shield is very, very good. We do have Sphinx came in 3rd place, and Faye in 4th place. Yeah, DXN, that's a surprising placement for him. I think, we talk up DXN, every time he's on here as a really consistent, good player. I think I want to say he's currently probably the highest rated player in this lobby in terms of ranked right now, but does get an 8th place this game. So see if he's able to come back in his game number 2 to make a bit of a statement.
Yeah, we did see DXN play his Predator hyper roll yet again, and kind of failing him yet again on Fight Night. I'm sure I know it's a very good comp. We've seen it have success, but DXN's track record with hyper rolling Predators on Fight Night just has not been that good. Like, maybe it's just unlucky, but overall, as I mentioned the last week we had Fight Night, I want to see him kind of branch out. He did have a game in the previous Fight Night where he did branch out to a different composition, had a lot of success. So maybe we'll see again, or we'll see if he sticks with the Predators and just keeps it rolling, keeps trying to see if he can come away with the wins. It just has not been going his way so far with that strategy. But we are going to jump into this game, yet another Inferno map, so we'll be looking at some more Nocturnes, I think.
Yeah, probably look at Nocturnes either way, but especially appealing so on this Inferno map. I think DV8 got the spatula again this game, so maybe going to be looking for another Blade Master Nocturne. We shall see. We got Angry Dwarf with the 1500 cheer. Thank you very much. Yeah, make sure to get those cheers in with who you want to win and what you're excited about for TFT. Just anything, it all helps everyone here tonight. So thank you very much for that. Big appreciate. See ZZ Rick here already with a couple of woodlands. Yeah, bits breakdown 6% to top 4 finishers, 20% to bounty, and 20% to cast and crew. Makes placements all that more important. These players are fighting for exactly that, to get first. But maybe top three does get you invited back here to Fight Night to have a chance to compete and win again if you weren't the previous winner. Let me see Faye here with the Malzahar. A couple of various units, no pairs yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a sad bench.
A little bit.
Of course it's early game, so there's a lot of sad benches generally in the early game. Just when you see 0 pairs, not many synergies yet, you're just definitely not feeling great about it. There's a couple Predators here. We get the Skarner picked up. There's a Rek'Sai offered if that's the route that Faye decides to go.
It looks like some Predators.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get 3 Predators before PvP round, you're definitely at least considering that option. Seeing how good Predators are in this meta. But
Faye's considering a lot of options right now, and now she's considering less options.
Wants to make gold.
Yeah, definitely trying to make gold here. So we'll probably see her sell a couple more things before the next round, unless she does get gold off of PvE, of course.
I think she only has 1 item, maybe 2 items. I'm not quite sure. Rissakah, though, has 4 items, but not a lot of gold. Does have Predators, however. A couple of Warwicks and a couple of Kog'Maws. Be curious to see if she puts a Kog'Maw in or decides to make any of the items. I mean, Ludens is pretty good for Kog'Maw, so I know she's thinking about it. It's just a matter of if she wants to commit to the Ludens this early or wait for a bit longer to see what more options open up and what's going to be appealing to go.
Yeah, she's probably considering whether or not she thinks she can win this round with the item or not. Because if she doesn't think she can win, I absolutely agree with kind of holding on to the items and just making sure that you are picking the item that you absolutely want as well, instead of just throwing the item in to get some early power. But with the Predator start, it is very possible for her to win some rounds. She might even win without having put anything in. We'll see if the Kog'Maw can. No, definitely not. That is a tier 2 Zyra.
Yep.
Did not notice that out of the gates there, but DXN's got a tier 2 Zyra sitting there with the Morellas. So he's going to start win streaking, I presume, trying to grab some early summoners, maybe some mages. Kind of similar to what maybe Chicken with Boba was doing in the previous game. She had a lot of success early game, just didn't find the unit she needed to transition out. So DXN getting that good early start, we may see him go for a similar route to what Chicken with Boba did in the previous round.
Maybe. Speaking of Chicken with Boba, that's 6 Orns already on round 2-2. Not a unit that's going to be that appealing unless you're looking to go electrics. You know, you're not going to be stacking wardens by any means, but I mean, hey, having a couple of tier 2 units is very strong right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to throw those in, definitely going to provide a bit of power. Faye is on 4, though, and does have 2 tier 2s of her own. One being the Vladimir, of course, and the other the Ivern, and that's going to be probably way too much for Chicken with Boba to win this round. The poor tier 1 Renekton not going to be able to do enough. And Faye looking to try and win streak as well.
Yeah, having a tier 2 Vlad and tier 2 Ivern early on in this game is very, very powerful, especially leveling to 4. I think she leveled to 4 on round 2-1, so really wanted to come out the gates with a win streak, but has lost a little bit of HP though. I think she barely lost the first round. Yeah, to 1 unit left. To lose that 3 HP. But we see Chicken Boba here with 4. Now puts in that extra Ornn. Wants to place her items on these units. Will probably end up selling the Talia, so she's not scared of putting that sword on. Scouting around, we see Rissakah with some early predators here. Usually players will tend to lean towards early woodlands or predators. Those are probably some of the best 2 things you can go in the early game. Facing DV8 here. With a Cog 2, but 2 Renekton 1s. That's not the Renekton 3 that we saw last game by any means.
Chicken with Boba will raise your 2 Renekton 1s with 2 Ornn 2s as a front line. And
a little bit better.
Go ahead and take that round for herself there. Collect a little bit of gold and try and start off her own win streak. We do see Professsor TFT still at 100 HP as well as Sphinx.
Yeah, good early starts here, and they do pick last in the carousel, but I would take that for having 100 HP and a win streak right now. See ZZ Rick grabbing a cloak and DV8 grabbing a bow. DV8 did have that spatula, so maybe this is looking to be a Blade Master item. That could be what this is. I believe DV8 has picked first both games on this second carousel. Faye considering her options here. So let's pick up the Kiana with a rod. It's always appealing to pick up that higher cost unit. I mean, it feels really bad to pick up a 1 cost in the carousel, and it's like, I really want to get more money. You know, help me gain those threshes or thresholds of economy. You know, every 10, you get an extra +1. So that's to make it Shojin's there.
Yep, Shojin on the Renekton, which good item for the early game to have on him. We'll see if it gets transitioned somewhere else later, but definitely getting off a lot more healing with that Spirit of Shojin. Good on Renekton in League of Legends as well as Teamfight Tactics.
That's crazy. Wowie wow. But yeah, Nocturne's being offered to Faye here. Already has one on the bench, but decides that's not the route that she wants to go. You know, I'm a big fan right now of Assassin Blade Master compositions, so I probably would have been tempted into going that, but it looks like Faye is pretty committed to going mages, as she does make that Rabadon's death cap right there. So that's going to be the route that she's going, almost guaranteed here, facing DXN with that Zyra, but the Zyra is no match, unfortunately, for the Woodland Druids and Mage Oceans, actually.
Faye gonna keep pushing this win streak up to 3 here already. Did lose the first round, as we mentioned earlier, but still able to kind of stabilize and start gaining those win streaks. We will have to see. I did want to see what DV8 did with that spatula. I believe, as you said, he was probably making the Blade Master item, and yes, we do see
there
that
it
here
is.
On the Kog'Maw right now. He may transition later into, of course, the Nocturne, as we have talked about so much, and move the items to potentially him. But for now, just getting the power of the 2 Blade Master, one on the Kog'Maw, tier 2 Cog, tier 2 Yasuo, as well as the tier 2 Ornn to frontline. We'll see if it's enough damage. Running into Sphinx, who has not lost a round yet. So we'll see if this Kog'Maw is able to do enough. It is going to get stunned up by the LeBlanc, and it's looking like it's going to be a lot of damage coming onto a DV8 here. Well, not too much. Only a couple. Still early game.
A lot of tier 1 units there.
Yeah.
A lot of tier 1 units, so not too much. But yeah, the Blade Master Kog'Maw, probably not the best Blade Master, but just a placeholder for now. as you said, definitely wants to find that Nocturne. I mean, really would have liked to see those pair of Nocturnes that Faye had found earlier, but that also does come with being level 5. I mean, DV8 is level 4, so it's a significantly less chance to find 3-cost units for now, until it gets, yeah, again, 2-5.
We are seeing this Zyra early game hypercarry quite frequently now. We do see Rissakah as well is sitting on that Zyra with a Spear of Shojins, with a Morella Nomicon. Definitely looking for that early game. It hasn't been as successful in this game for DXN and for Rissakah as it was for Chicken with Boba in the previous game, but Chicken with Boba did find it later on after already losing quite a few rounds, so maybe her composition around the Zyra was a little bit more, and DXN and Rissakah just need a couple more pieces in order for this to start really coming online and winning a couple of rounds for them.
Yeah, hopefully so, because you do build that Zyra and dedicate items to her early to get that early power spike, so maybe, yeah, just a couple other things need to go well in their favor. We see Chicken the Boba with 8 Orns right now and only needs 1 more to find Orn 3. Decided to put Thieves Gloves on that Orn. Dragon Claw on the Talia. Dragon Claw definitely a little bit of increase in value considering the Ocean Mages are so prevalent in the meta right now. So not a bad item to go. We'll probably put that on either Heavy Frontliner or one of the hyper carries if there is not a third item that the hyper carry would rather have. But facing ZZ Rick here, see how this round goes. That is a tier 2 Nocturne.
Yeah, it's a tier 2 Nocturne that does have the Infernal Hex. Going to be putting out quite a bit of damage with that attack speed buff. Definitely going to lose this round, Chicken with Boba. That is ZZ Rick kind of on the come up, you know. 64 HP, but he does find that tier 2 Nocturne. Gonna start to try and win some rounds, start turning this around. Does hit level 5. Gonna be able to put in an extra unit as Chicken with Boba hits level 6.
Sells the Orns, does not want to commit to an Orn 3. And Chicken Boba doesn't have a lot of gold right now. Decided to roll down to 0, which not a lot of players will do right now usually. Yeah, it probably takes out the Orn for some mages. Probably will sell that Orn as soon as it will make her some money as well. Oh, has the Nikos. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, brand 2 at round 3 too. That's pretty good. Wow, he just doesn't have any items for it though. That's the only thing right now.
Yeah, gonna help turn it around a little bit though. On the 2 Ocean 3 Mage, kind of the poor man's comp of what Rissakah had last game. Obviously, it's much earlier in the game, so we may see her transition into a lot more mages, more Oceans coming later into the game. But Brand, definitely a very strong unit, very important unit. Unfortunately, that Cataclysm isn't going to bounce, and I think that might end up costing the round as this Zyra tries to finish off. Yeah, the units of Rissakah were just way too spread. We see the question mark ping coming out of Chicken with Boba on top of that, as the Brand Cataclysm does about 100 damage instead of wiping an entire team as we generally see it do.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there indeed. I mean, building a brand 2 at round 3 you definitely want to win that round, but the 3-item Zyra from, I believe it was Rissakah that round. Yeah, it was very, very strong.
It was either Rissakah or DXN. Yeah. I think they both have stacked Zyras, but I believe that
one
was
with the
Rissakah.
PD.
Yeah, the PD.
Indeed, PD a very good item right now. I mean, it's good into the Blade Master assassin composition that we know DV8 is running this game, and it might get a bit of use versus other players as well. Rissakah does have a brand that is still sitting on 30 gold, so she's looking pretty good this game thus far, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, and on a 4-win streak already here. Already kind of stabilized with this Zyra. Like we talked about earlier, she was losing a few rounds early on, but found the pieces that we talked about for this mid-game Zyra kind of spike with a few synergies, and it really pops off. It really does well in this stage of the game, as long as you can find the units that you need to transition. Hopefully the Brand, she has 1, but she'll have to find, of course, the tier 2 down the line, as tier 1 Brand is definitely going to get hard outscaled. But yeah, definitely seems like a strong comp. I'm liking these mage comps quite a lot. I feel like they seem pretty strong in this meta. I did like ZZ Rick's adaptation into the assassins in the previous game, and I wonder if we'll see something like that again with so many mages in this round.
Yeah, that's generally not a composition that many players will go. I think that's predominantly a strong Chinese strategy of hyper rolling for those woodlands and putting assassins in with them. I don't think ZZ Rick did go Diana last game, because I know that is a staple to the strategy usually. But ZZ Rick is level 5 right now and is just constantly rolling. So might look to do the same thing again. I mean, it definitely looks like it. Has 6 Maokais right now. Only 3 Iverns though, 5 LeBlancs.
This is the same as what he did last time, right? He went up to 50 gold, and then he's just rolling every round trying to find these woodlands. He's doing the same thing as last game. So we will see, actually, as I was saying, about trying to find assassins to counteract all these mages. We will see ZZ Rick trying to do that same thing. He's trying to get these woodlands yet again, and then it seems that he will transition into the assassins later on. And if he can find the units, if he can hit the proper units, then we're going to see a repeat of game 1. I fully believe that he will be able to take this home as long as he can find a couple of the pieces that he needs here.
Yeah, it needs to do that. I mean, that round was a bit close, but Professsor TFT, we had to realize, was at 100 HP, had not lost yet. No, we haven't checked in with Professsor TFT that much this game, but that was the first loss. I mean, let's look at this composition here. We have Inferno Rangers, but I think it's just due to that Tier 2 Kindred, and the Tier 2 Renekton, I think, would do a lot of work with those couple of items right now.
The very early Tier 2 Renekton he had with very stacked items, I think, has been the focal point in carrying a lot of these early game fights for Professsor TFT. It's now starting to get to the point where he will begin to be outscaled in that sense, but he does have a Tier 2 Kindred, Tier 2 Varus. He's got a couple units out here that are very strong as well that he's going to be able to start to lean into more heavily. He may have to lose a couple rounds before he can, but it shouldn't be too bad for him, I don't think. Not quite yet.
Yeah, it's going to lose a round, but Rissakah did level to 7 pretty early before the Wolf round, and players generally not do that, but Rissakah did want to keep that win streak going, and that Zyra is still doing work right now. But speaking of Professsor TFT's comp, on that bench was a lot of shadow units, already a pair of Yoriks, has a brand in case that is the route that Professsor TFT wants to go, but there's a couple options. There's the mage route, and then there is the shadow and summoner route. Both are good, and the items that he has will be good for both of them as well. That Shojin's and Morello's works very well on Malzahar or Brand, depending on which route that he wants to go.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the shadows, he's sitting on that Scion as well, so he's kind of got all of the options there.
Yeah.
DXN, we do see trying to go for the same items that Rissakah has on the Zyra. It seems like that may be kind of the staple items we will see on this kind of mid-game hyper carry Zyra that we have going here tonight on Fight Night. We're gonna have the Shojin PD Morello Zyra kind of coming out a couple times here. Almost gonna have 2 in one game here as long as DXN can find his final item for it.
A Shadow Lux, but no shadows on the side of Sphinx here. Seeing a Lux in the shop always makes me think twice about if I can actually use it, but definitely not here. Sphinx does have a Blade Master Nocturne as well as Deviate, I believe, so a couple players, but the difference is that Sphinx is first and Deviate is last right now. Unfortunately, only has a Nocturne 1 comparatively to the Nocturne 2 of Sphinx here.
That's a Nocturne 2 with an Infinity Edge on top of that Blade Master. That's a pretty big item. A lot of damage coming out of that one. Definitely going to instill some paranoia in the rest of the competitors here, hoping they don't run into this guy. Going to be pretty rough to deal with, and he's going to try and kind of rekindle the win streak he had previously that he did lose earlier on to ZZ Rick.
Yo, let's play Count the Brands for a second here.
Yo, that's a lot of brands.
Yo, that is 6 brands we have from Chicken and Boba on level 7. Holy moly. I mean, as an Ocean Mage player, you definitely don't want to see one player hogging 6 of the brands, considering there are only 12 in the whole pool. Definitely going to be strong for here. She did lose the last round, unfortunately. Maybe it was bad items on the other brand due to the Thieves' Gloves, but we'll see how this round goes.
I mean, I expect these Cataclysms to come out and deal quite a bit of damage, but this round's actually very close. Oh my god! Tibbers hangs on with a sliver of HP, and the Zyra just still able to do so much. How did the Brands lose? Those Cataclysms were ripping through DXN's comp. And somehow these Zyra plants just did enough, and Tibbers was able to hang on. That seems insane. That seems absurd to me that the double tier 2 brand could not win that round.
Oh, I don't think Chicken Bubba was playing mages last round. I think she just put in mage. Yeah, just put in 3 mage, so maybe that had something to do with it. There wasn't a chance for the brands to double cast, but I mean, it was still Inferno Synergy double brands. I mean, they both did about 5k damage apiece, but nothing else on her team did damage. It was only the brands.
That's true.
And it seems that DXN's comp was able to output. I mean, it was just damage versus damage. Like there was no defense on either side, and it was extremely close.
You're gonna see, you know, don't need to proc double cast if you have 2 brands, but she does in fact proc double cast on one of those brands.
It's the same story as last fight.
Oh, the same thing. No, the Zyra and too much. The plant's putting out too much damage, and the Tibbers is just too tanky. Seems to be the main problem.
Not enough frontline, but Tibbers is that extra frontline that these Zyra players have. Oh man, this is not good. Speaking of not good, DV8 here is on a 9-loss streak. Has 4 steal though, so has a steal Lux.
Oh no, the sad emote. The sad Silverwing emote as he's on the 9-loss streak and 0 gold. Kind of just waiting for his judgment at this point, it feels like.
Feels bad, man. Picks up a belt, I guess, to make a red buff for the Sivir. Doesn't have 3 assassins in though. That is unfortunate. Probably was looking for a spatula on this carousel to be able to fit both 3 assassins and the steel Lux in. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to find that though. So red buff is probably the next best option for DV8 here. Sphinx has lost a little bit since then.
Yeah. In fact, he is going to pick up the recurve bow here. We do see a very scary Nocturne. That was a different board than the other Nocturne because that's a Ginsu's. Yeah, this is DV8's board. He has the tier 2 Nocturne. Ginsu's Blade Master on the Infernal Hex. That is compared to... It's Sphinx, right? No, wait. Yeah, Sphinx has
Sphinx,
the
other
Nocturne
IE.
with the IE, right? Okay. Yep. Oh, so as far as items are concerned for Nocturne, which... do you prefer as like your ideal item set on Infernal?
I mean, ideal items in general on Nocturne, I would say are Blade Master, Rage Blade, Infinity Edge. Infinity Edge can get a little bit iffy if you're facing against Phantom Dancers, like we see here from Rissakah, I believe. So the Nocturne will spend a lot of time hitting the Zyra and not really doing much for it, as we see here. Yep, exactly that.
Yeah, and it's actually gonna lose the round for Sphinx. He very likely would have won that round had if not for the Phantom Dancer. So yeah, it seems like can be kind of worse of an item to pick up than the Ginsu's, but also the Infernal Hex is kind of a poor man's Ginsu's in a sense in that it gives attack speed a large amount. Obviously Ginsu's will give more over the course of the round as it is a percent increase that does increase per auto attack.
Yep.
But yeah, we do see DV8 drop out now, so that's one of the Nocturnes down, 1 remains.
Yeah, turned that 9-loss streak into a 10-loss streak, unfortunately, for DV8 there. 8th place, but we see Rissakah here. The opposite of that, on a 10-win streak currently. Has a couple of Namis, level 8, has a bit of gold left as well. Facing against Professsor TFT, did go the shadow route, it seems. Has that Malzahar with those Shojins and Morellos. Can Rissakah's Zyra do it here, though?
Yeah, it's putting out a lot of damage. The Tibber's trying to frontline a bit, but it looks like Professsor TFT is going to be able to win this round with just summons. Oh no, the Nami! Nope. I didn't even notice the Nami sitting in the corner. I was only looking at the Zyra. I didn't see her there. Yeah, Rissakah's going to be able to hang on to that win streak. 11 wins now.
Yeah,
Rissakah is really impressing me so far over the course of this fight night. This is the second game in a row that she's kind of come out with this this composition, and she's sitting on top of the table right now with the 11 win streak, a lot of gold still. Not, insane econ, but still a 21 gold with the 11 win streak. She's going to be making plenty of money. to be rolling off later to continue building this composition.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll
I
see if she
mean,
can hang on.
leveling to 8 before the Raptors round as well. Generally, players will go to level 8 if they're going to go to level 8 at all after the Raptors round. But we see ZZ Rick here. I know someone we're talking about as maybe being a front runner in this game, assuming that he found all the things that he needed, but hasn't quite found the same success. I don't believe there is a tier 3 Nocturne. No, there's not. Or not Nocturne, sorry, a Renekton, like last game. Does have some steals though, and 6 Nocturnes, 1 away from the LeBlanc. I think ZZ Rick keeps rolling here.
Yeah. What's actually very interesting about this kind of woodland reroll strat is in the first game the Renekton felt very instrumental in his success.
Yeah.
Yet I don't think that's actually normal for the composition to run, is it? It seems more likely that he's just re-rolling these other woodlands, and the Renekton was just a byproduct of just being very lucky with a bunch of Renektons. Yet it seemed like the most integral part of the composition.
Yeah, it kind of did. That's a very good point there. It really did. I mean, Renekton's just a beast of a unit, I guess. Might as well, if you find a tier 3 of them, just pick it up. But Rissakah's composition here, this Zyra, I think is going to take out ZZ Rick here.
No, the Ivern tried to hang on.
Honestly, it was close.
Yeah, just a couple more casts of that shield. He did have the Ionic Spark, which was slowly killing off all the units, but yeah, ZZ Rick's going to go out at 7th here, so first place to 7th with the same composition. We do see that with some of these heavier rolling compositions happening quite a bit. So yeah, ZZ Rick is going to fall, and Rissakah is going to continue her win streak.
Yeah, I think it's 11 or 12 win streak now. I've lost count at this point.
Yeah, it should be around 12. Yeah, it
12.
will be 12. Chicken with Boba still unable to find any more brands, so she's just going to have 2 of them there.
I wonder why, as we look at the other side of the field here. We're still with the 6 brands here from Chicken with Boba. Going to want to take her out to be able to secure some brands for herself.
Yeah, and continuing, the Zyra is outperforming the brand. I think it's more the Tibbers, and having a front line is the main thing. The Zyra's doing plenty of damage, of course. It's pumping out tons of damage, but it seems to be the frontline diff. Ooh. And we're gonna see Rissakah continue to hold on to that win streak, as she does end up killing off Chicken with Boba in 5th, and 6th, and DXN goes out in 5th here. We didn't see much of DXN. We do know he had that Zyra early on, but maybe not finding the pieces that Rissakah was finding, and she is able to kind of transition way better into this late game as DXN fell off really hard.
We know for a fact DXN probably did not have a brand 2, as most of the brands are taken. There's 9 between Faye, Rissakah, and Chicken with Boba. Chicken with Boba is out though, so some brands returning to the pool.
Yeah, we see a bunch of Tibbers thrown down, a lot of fire all over the map. It's very chaotic. But Professsor TFT is going to take a good chunk of damage from Faye. A lot of summons, so it always looks like a lot more damage than it ends up being. Definitely, I never will get used to that. It's just there's so much stuff on the board. It's like, oh, he's going to take a massive... Oh, it was like 10 damage.
Yeah, not that much. Looks definitely a lot more scary than it actually is. Faye is still on a win streak, but Rissakah did fall last round. I believe it was to Sphinx, because Faye... fought against Professsor TFT, I believe.
Wow, she took 21 damage?
Yep. She's sitting on 80 for a very, very long time.
Yeah, that's a pretty big chunk to take, so Sphinx must be very strong right now. And looking at his composition, I would say, he's pretty strong. He does have that Blade Master Assassin, which we did talk about earlier, being fairly good into the mages, especially if they don't have much of a front line. If these assassins can just get in and pick off the kills right away. We're going to see Sphinx run into Faye here. We've got this Nocturne doing a lot of work, a lot of damage coming out from him. He's going to slowly rip through this entire comp. I say slowly, but it's really not that slow. So it kind of kills everything off very quickly. And Faye's going to take a little bit of damage as well here. Sphinx definitely having a good shot at this game. Rissakah definitely having a powerful composition as well still, and she was win streaking for so long, but she is out of gold here. I didn't see how she ended up deciding. I believe she was econing pretty high for a while. She leveled to 9. Right, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's what a lot of that gold has been spent on. Sphinx was 1 Nocturne away from Nocturne 3, I believe. Professor TFT with the Shadow Summoner still on level 7. Yeah, Sphinx is 1 away from the Nocturne 3 and is also 1 away from a Kha'Zix 2. But that Sivir did 8,000 damage, almost comparable damage to that Nocturne last round. See if it's able to do the same right now versus Professor TFT.
Well, we watched this. So this Janna positioning is actually really smart from Sphinx. He's got it right in front of the Sivir. So by the time that the front line of any of these other compositions is reaching the Sivir is kind of popping off her ultimate as well as Janna popping hers. So we have the Ricochet and the Monsoon coming out, and it's allowing the Sivir to get infinite uptime. She stays alive the entire time and is able to just constantly be getting those ricochets out.
Yeah, definitely. That which lends to being consistently the second damage, right below Nocturne every fight. We saw Rissakah barely beat Faye that fight. It came down to just 1 unit and 1 summon at the end, I believe. Faye is also on 9 and with 50 gold right now, though. That is very impressive. We'll see what she decides to do with all of that gold after this round here. Yeah, Faye's just been still leveling this whole time.
Faye's quietly gotten herself in a pretty good position to overall win this game. I mean, she does have the Mage Summoner Ocean, but importantly, I think she is the only one left with a full economy rolling. If you look around, yeah, it does look like she is. So as long as she doesn't go out in the next few rounds, she's going to have the opportunity to really beef up her composition by rolling into hopefully finding some of these upgrades.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, it's still on a brand 1. Has one on the bench, though, so just needs to find 1 more. Being offered some Yorks. I mean, she has a lot of gold, so she's probably going to go for some 3 stars. I mean, we see her pick up that Nautilus.
Yeah.
I guess going for Nautilus 3. Finds the brand 2.
Huge.
That's good. Yeah, Nami as well to replace the Vladimir, because she does have Mage Hat on Annie, so doesn't need the Vladimir anymore.
Yeah, and Nami, I think, is another really good pickup here. The crowd control we see coming out of that unit in previous fight nights has definitely swung a lot of fights. So being able to see that come out is definitely something that's going to be good for Faye. The brand 2 in particular, though, is huge. We will see if it can pump out a lot of damage alongside this Zyra. We do see the Vera's arrow come across and almost take down the Zyra single-handedly. Nami wave going to flow across everybody. And yeah, Faye's going to be able to take that very handedly. And Professor TFT does go down. I thought he was able to hang on there. I did not see him get off screen, but no, he did die there. And that is going to put him in 4th place and secure Faye at least 3rd. But she does still have a little bit of gold to roll through. We'll see how much she decides to spend here, going ahead and picking up a Soraka too.
Yeah, is spending all of it. I think she realizes that now is the time where she has to make her composition the strongest that it can be, because these players like Sphinx and Rissakah, their comps are very, very scary right now. Faye maybe even wanted to position a bit better versus this Nocturne. Yeah, her mouse hovers over that, and it's going to take out this Nami and the brand very soon. Okay, it does go to not the brand there, though, but now it does. Takes out the Zyra as well. This fight, I think, is going over to the side of Sphinx. Yeah, that Nocturne ripping through everything. It is pretty close, though. Honestly, I mean, Faye's composition dealt with the majority of Sphinx's comp there.
Yeah, it's just, I think, going to come down to if Faye's mages can get out some burst damage that lands on Nocturne. She needs it to land on the proper targets here, because the Nocturne is able, as long as it stays alive, to kill everything on the board easily. It will wipe everything. It is a ticking time bomb to kill your entire board. So you need the RNG to be in your favor with some of these spells landing onto him and maybe take him down. Yeah,
the mage procs too. I mean, a lot of these fights are just RNG in effect of if these are these mages going to be casting twice or not. It's a 50-50. So that's probably what's deciding some of them. I mean, Sphinx's Nocturne does jump into the backline. I think this is Rissakah's composition with the tier 2 Lux now. Yeah, Nocturne was taken out there.
Yeah.
Oh, the Timbers.
He's might end up losing to the clone army there of Rissakah. Yeah. gonna go down, and Faye beats Rissakah. So this is shaping up to be a very close match here. Very intense game. Definitely a rock, paper, scissors kind of going on right now, as Sphinx was beating Faye, but Faye beats Rissakah, and Rissakah beats Sphinx.
Yeah, I don't think that these fights are really going down in terms of just my comp counters your comp. I think it's just the positioning and the fight RNG of mages, you know, proccing their double spell casts or not. I think a lot of these compositions are pretty evenly matched right now. And I mean, maybe some improvements can be made. I mean, we see Rissakah put in 3 summoners by taking out 6 oceans, but I would say that's perfectly fine considering she did find a Z2 here. That's going to be very, very powerful. Considering putting oceans back in.
The summon uptime could be massive here. It actually might make a difference being able to get this 3 summoners in. The Tibbers has been integral, and the damage coming out of Zyra is also very important. We'll see if it does allow her to find the win onto Sphinx here. We're gonna be able to see that Nami wave come across with that Seraphs. I like that item decision, but the backline gets absolutely shredded by Sphinx's assassins, and that is going to put a little bit of damage here onto Rissakah. She's going to drop down to 10. A lot of the damage coming out, it just wasn't enough. Only seeing a couple thousand on each of the carries. Everything just died too fast into Sphinx's comp, and Faye losing to Sphinx as well. It looks like these assassins are slowly starting to counter these mage compositions. Sphinx must have found an upgrade there that I missed, because, or it, as you mentioned, it could just entirely be the fight RNG there just went completely the other way this time.
Yeah, I think that was the positioning. I think Rissakah's positioning there was not great versus the Nocturne. Was able to quickly kill the most important damage dealers, and so yeah, that's why they only did, you know, a couple thousand damage, maybe even less than that. But Sphinx is facing Faye here. The Nocturne jumps onto the Annie, and then onto the Brand. Where did that guy go? Who knows?
No, that's not what you want to see if you're Faye, and it's just Tibbers and a bunch of beefy boys in the front time. It's big boy season, hitting them up, trying to do what they can, but Nautilus is not going to do enough damage here. And yeah, this Nocturne's still going to just tear through the rest of these units.
This is the power of Blade Master.
Will that be enough to take Faye down? I think it is.
Yeah, Faye did fall there. That's unfortunate. Faye did find the Nautilus 3, and that almost was like kind of enough. I know the Nautilus 3 CCs for 6 seconds, I believe. So CC the Nocturne for a bit there, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough. Rissakah did win the last round. So, she is back to 6 oceans and not the 3 summoners. That is interesting. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah, she did lose the round after she took out the oceans against someone she had previously just beaten. But you said you thought it was potentially a positioning thing. Is her positioning right now? Well, it's a PvE round, so we'll have to see. But going in, I want to just watch how she positions and just kind of get your take on it. Because obviously, in the moment in a tournament, it can be hard to do the optimal thing, and we have eyes on the outside. So getting your insight into what you think could be the best moves to make into this assassin composition, as it can be so hard to play into this Nocturne, which is so commonplace. Just kind of talking through how you would go about this.
Yeah, first of all, I would take out Mystics here. Mystics are not going to do much work versus those Blade Master Sins. The Mystics were very good versus phase comp, but right now I would say Summoners are the best. In terms of positioning, though, I would just want to bait Nocturne into the opposite corner away from the Nami and the Brand, but she does opt to put the Nami and the Brand a bit towards the front. Nocturne jumps to the back and starts saying the Vladimir, but
the big Nami was hit a lot, but the Nocturne's still... Yeah, the Nocturne's still... It's tier 3 Nocturne, getting a lot of uptime. We do have a lot of Zed summons out. They're just not doing anything. The Nocturne is continually healing up with the Umbral Dash. That is so many Zeds, and it does have PD. They're all over the place, but the passive from the Nocturne is allowing it to heal so much, just filling the forest shadows.
I think the Nocturne should die? Okay, there we go.
Oh, shit. Oh my god, yeah. So the passive healing from the Nocturne able to grab so much because of all the summons all over the board. keeping him alive for so long, but he's able to spawn just too many shadows, eventually overwhelming the Nocturne, getting enough hits out. Oh my god.
That was quite the fight there, but with that, Rissakah does live for at least one more round. She's going to be finding a lot, or try to find a lot more. Wasn't quite looking at a lot of the positioning there. The Nocturne is going to jump towards the side of the brand, however.
Yeah, we're going to see the Nami gets a decent... Oh no, doesn't actually end up getting a good tidal wave, and a lot of the damage dealers for Rissakah are already down. We have the Zed again, though. We'll see if he could repeat the miracle of last game, but the Nocturne is on the original Zed, and he goes down. Wait, no, but the shadows continuing to spawn more.
This is round 2. Overtime happens, and the Nocturne falls.
Again. They win again.
The power of the Fam Dancer in this meta.
We need some yakety sax playing as we get the Zed shadows spawning all over the place. Oh, the Zed seeming to counter the Nocturne.
Oh yeah.
I mean, of course, PD into the IE, but generally I would think Zed would not do as well into this because the Nocturne is going to cleave them down, but it's not cleaving fast enough into this PD, and the Zed keeps being able to kill off the Nocturne.
Yeah, I mean, these fights are really close, though. It's just coming down to that Zed at the end, but Brand has been able to get his ult off. I mean, at least he didn't last fight. Okay, gets an ult off this fight. Zed is still alive right now.
Much better tidal wave from the Nami. The Zed stays alive. The Morelos has been applied, though. Nocturne's still up, but yeah, the Zed is still there. That's probably going to do it yet again. Yeah, there we go. And if this continues, Rissakah's going to win. Sphinx is losing his mind. It's the funniest thing.
Saw some smiles there, maybe in frustration, maybe in just, well, this is how it's gonna go, I guess.
It really looks like a, well, this is my life now kind of smile on Sphinx's face. It looks like, well, what can I do? I just gotta hope for the RNG to be in my favor here. Maybe find an item that can work. That could be an item that could potentially help, but where can it go?
This disarm probably goes on the Yi. I am way more interested, however, in Rissakah's item that she picked up. She picked up a cloak, and she did have a free, not a free slot, but a rod on the Zed. So that Zed not only is going to have a Fam Dancer and Shojins, but a full completed Ionic Spark. Now, it's not going to really do anything versus Nocturne, but that does help kill the other units even faster. Ionic is a very, very good Zed item indeed. Ooh,
yeah, we're gonna have to see. Okay. I'm just gonna keep my eyes on this Zed and see its uptime. It has been untouched so far, getting out a couple shadows, and we're gonna see if it can continue. The Nocturne has, oh no, it is still up. I was barely missing it on my screen, but yeah, we're back to this yet again. Cue the music, everybody, because we got a lot of Zeds coming out.
Yep, and that's gonna be a wrap. Rissakah does it. Holy moly. The Zed. That's the counter. I mean, she played her win condition.
Naruto from Shippuden, pumping out shadow clones and taking off the Nocturne. Oh man.
Blevins the 200 bits, thank you. Spam these heads for Sphinx to kill the Zeds, but Sphinx was not able to kill the Zeds.
Oh my god.
The Zeds take home the victory, and I mean, yeah, it was pretty funny last few rounds there with just seeing that interaction. But Rissakah playing extremely well in these games. I mean, she's consistently placed high. She placed second and now first. It was a close one, and if it wasn't for the Zed, probably would have got another second. But does secure the first place
we mentioned that Zed earlier. You pointed it out, putting the Zed in for the summoner bonus, and even if not for the summoner bonus, the Zed ended up being just the key piece that needed to come in to kind of solve the puzzle that was that Nocturne. And Rissakah is gonna take the lead in this fight night with a first place in that round, second place in the first round from her, and yeah, 25 points, commanding lead right now. Really impressive plays.
Definitely very impressed by her so far. You know, a newer player to Fight Night, but she is coming out the gates swinging. Really giving a reason for her to belong here. And we have Sphinx with 22 points, Faye with 18, ZZ Rick with 17. So players still within the distance of points here for getting first place. Got a few 9-point players there, a little bit of a tie for the 8th, but we'll see if they can find some wins once we come back from break. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. Stay with us for more crazy action like that last game. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's Heroes Hearth TFT Fight Night. We've had a couple of really fun games thus far, and a question I always like to ask, Casa, is, we've seen, Rissakah, we've seen Sphinx do really well thus far, but is there any player that you would like to see, come back in these next couple of games? Who do you have your eye on in terms of these players that can contest these top contenders right now?
Well, since basically after that game, I'm pretty sure we're not watching Fight Night. We're actually just watching an anime. I would love to see I always talk about him because I love the dude, but I want to see a DXN redemption arc. I want to see him come back from his 9 points. You know what? Any of these 9-point Andes we've got here, Chicken with Boba, DV8, and DXN. I want to see the redemption arc, the comeback from the 9 points. I think we've seen great things out of all of them. I think they just maybe haven't had the best luck in some of these games as well. We all excellent players here at Fight Night, and I know they're all capable of popping off and having some great games. So I would love to see one of those three kind of turn it around and start making a run at the first place finish here. But so far, my favorite to win that I think is going to take it is Rissakah. She's really impressed me in both the games, and she's kind of come out of nowhere. I'm so glad we got to have her on this week because she's been playing amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, Rissakah, I think. Yeah, how to pronounce that one? We're dumbcasters.
We're dumbcasters. We know better now, so we will correct that in the future. Thank you.
All right, just waiting on one of the players, and we will get the game started. I do want to see a bit of a better performance out of Faye. I think she's gotten a third place and then a fourth place. So I mean, getting those top fours, but it's not enough to compete with these top two players here. Obviously, Faye coming off an OEL victory, so she has a very good understanding of the meta. Just needs to place a couple of places higher to be able to get these points and really contend for that first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's still sitting in third place in the standings right now. But yeah, as you mentioned earlier, coming off that OEL victory, really expecting her to come in and pop off. So we'll see if she can definitely turn it around and kind of bring those really narrow misses in winning the rounds and turn them into victories.
I'm curious to see how many Zyras we'll see being the early game carries. Next game seems to be a strategy that a lot of players are going for. Only need a tier 2 of a 1-cost unit to be a carry up until stage like 4 or 5, maybe even 6. I think we saw a tier 2 Zyra with some items even at the end game there. So definitely a very, very powerful unit. Maybe something that will be nerfed later on, maybe a next patch or something, but we'll see. Players have that option right now to be able to, I don't want to say abuse, but it is very, very strong as we jump into game number 3 here. Not an Inferno map. We got an Ocean map, so finally a little bit of map diversity here. Yeah, a third Inferno would have been a little feels bad, but...
Yeah, we got the Dream Fight Night 2 weeks ago where we got each map once, but at least we're going to get a little bit of variety here. We do see going in, we did see Rissakah, or from now on we'll be calling Striving Light, did pick up the Zyra in the previous 2 games. And we were talking about that Zyra, and we've seen it on a couple different people, but she's had the most success with it.
Yeah, I think so. Striving Light picking up a tier, and a tier is really good for that Shojin's for that Zyra here. So probably maybe going to be an option here. Obviously, we'll see what she picks up, but tier being one of those priority items. Another tier as well. Hey, maybe even a Seraph's. We'll see, but it's only around 1, 2, so got a lot of time to make those decisions.
Yeah, that's a lot of mana. Got a Seraphs on Ocean map. That's quite a bit. Actually, Ocean map, you may have already started to touch on this, but for this Zyra that has been so powerful and these mages, the Ocean map seems to be a pretty beneficial map choice for those kind of compositions.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, quickly going over the ocean map in general, it gives plus 30 starting mana to any unit standing inside of that. It does take one item slot, but that is okay, as you're probably not going to have, 3 items on a unit in the early game. I see Chicken Boba also with a tier as well. But yeah, as you said, these Ocean Mage compositions benefit extremely well from Seraphs and Shojin. Shojin's even more so because you can get that value with Shojin's every auto attack. After you cast your ultimate, you will gain 18%, I believe it is, mana. So casting your ult faster means you're getting that mana even faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it be absolutely dominant with the Zyra being able to get so many plants out and just pump out so much damage. But yeah, so far we'll see who can grab those items and grab those units. I expect a lot of people are gonna be looking at the Zyra on this map. So we'll see. It should be a hotly contested unit, and we'll see who can pick it up early. That's a completed PD on that Volibear though for Professsor TFT. I assume that will go to another unit eventually, but for now, yeah, he does have that completed item.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I generally don't like making completed items before the PvP rounds even start, but it's a good item. It's probably definitely gonna get some use throughout the course of the game as a whole. So overall, I don't mind it. A couple of Zyras on the oh yeah, making a 2/2 Zyra.
Okay.
Well, definitely gonna play that. It has option Predators, but Faye says nope, Zyra is better. Yeah. She might even consider to make this death cap. I'm not sure. Definitely a Morello's is going to be at least one rod will always go on this Zyra, whether it become a death cap or a Morello's, but probably Morello's would be priority here, considering that's the burn that Morello's gives is probably the best item in this meta for mages. Yeah, we see a Morello's and a Shojin's. Yeah. Only a tier 1 Zyra. Let's have DXN, but it's basically perfect items so far. Like, you can't get any better than these items early game.
Yeah, he's still going to lose this round to Faye, of course, because she does have the tier 2 Zyra and the tier 2 frontline. But DXN does have a good baseline to turn this into a strong comp to kind of start his redemption arc early at the beginning of this game. Definitely a good start for him. So we'll see if he can transition that into more. He definitely has to find those Zyras. He's kind of not necessarily committed to it at this point, but in some sense he is. Like, he absolutely wants that to be his composition moving forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. Committing to Morello's means you're probably going some sort of mages. You could go Shadows perhaps. Shojin's and Morello's are really good with Malzahar. But yeah, speaking of that redemption arc, I mean, this is where it starts, if it is going to, with that Zyra with perfect items so far. Just needs to find a couple other ones to make that into a tier 2. Lowest HP right now though, 94, going to this second round. Gonna be facing some 5 units actually with the Woodland Druids.
Yeah, I think he did run into arguably the strongest person on that previous round. We'll see if he still loses a lot of HP, since he is sitting at level 3. Sphinx is at level 4, so he'll likely, I mean, of course he will lose this round as well. Yeah, still gonna take quite a bit of damage.
Running to the strongest person this round as well, I would say.
Yeah.
5 units, that was Woodlands and leveling up to put that Nocturne in. Man, that is rough. She's Striving Light here with some Woodlands of her own. Facing Faye's Zyra. I think the Woodlands will be able to manage to take this, yeah. The regen is a bit too powerful. If only that was a Morello's inside of the Zyra, maybe the healing reduction could have stopped that. But unfortunately, Faye does not have that for now. Striving Light puts in a Zyra 2 of her own. Zyra 2s across the board.
Well, so Striving Light yet again is able to find her Zyra. So we could end up seeing a repeat of the first 2 games of her just kind of taking over this game as it gets to the mid to late sections. But she does, of course, need to find the items yet again. Has been able to find near perfect items both times, if I remember correctly. I'm having trouble remembering the first game, but the second game, of course, had perfect items on Zyra.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, has a couple of tiers, has a rod. I think she's going to be looking to pick up either a belt or a sword to make Shojin's or Morello's. She's able to get that win versus Chicken with Boba. I think Chicken Boba was, that was her first loss this game so far before the carousel. bit unfortunate. Might have wanted to keep that win streak going. But only person at 100 still is Sphinx. And Sphinx, that player in second place currently in terms of points, going to be looking to overtake Striving Light here. And this is definitely a good start to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sphinx yet again going for the Nocturne. We have players definitely going for their kind of signature strategies that they've had throughout this tournament, and definitely in the interview later on, depending on who wins, we'll probably have to ask about that, because we've seen Striving Light go Zyra 3 games, and I believe Sphinx has gone Nocturne all 3 games. I'm not, again, first game definitely escapes me, but I'm pretty sure he's gone Nocturne all 3 games. And so yeah, it's definitely like a stylistic difference, and they've both had very good success with both of their compositions that they're liking right now.
Yeah, I know for sure Deviate has gone Nocturne every game, but opting to sell a Nocturne here, Deviate looking to branch out a little bit, has a few lights right now, and 40 gold. This is pretty early to have 40 gold. I was going to say, oh, look at Deviate, unfortunately. He's picking first of the carousel again, lowest HP. But being at 40 gold, I actually think it's fine to be picking first of the carousel and having some of the lowest HP in the lobby. Maybe going to look to reroll for lights, though?
I was going to ask, is he going to hyper roll light?
Yeah, I mean, already 5 veins, 40 gold on round 2-5. That's a pretty good opener to do that. I'm not sure how well I like lights in general in this meta, though. I think they're okay, but I don't think they're the strongest by any means. Wait, that vein's popping off, though.
Oh my god.
Wait, no. Still Zyra plants.
Striving Light wins with just one Zyra plant hanging on there at the end. But going back to what you're saying about light, it's interesting because it does feel like light is probably fairly weak in this meta. But if you get a bunch of early 3-cost units, I don't think it matters if the composition is like weaker in the current meta, because you can snowball hard enough early on that if you need to, you can transition, but also you may just be strong enough to win the game outright.
Yeah, perhaps so. I mean, 6 veins before Krugs, I think, is going to be very, very good for this composition. Being able to find a tier 3 vein. It doesn't have any Nasuses thus far, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does have the Aatrox to get the 3 lights. But yeah, I think Deviate will roll down until he gets the tier 3 vein and then stop and Econ to be able to, stay on par with the leveling of most other players. I think that's what's going to happen here, but we'll have to see after the Krug round to really find out. We see Faye's, Faye did make the Morellos.
Of course, Zyra.
Zyra too.
Continue to dominate.
Oh yeah. It's crazy how fast, the meta spreads when, everyone realizes that, a player such as Delicious Milk, who's on top of the NA right now, going this Zyra, how effective it is. Players are like, that's pretty good, I'm gonna do this too, and then it spreads throughout the whole meta.
And we're gonna have programs here. I actually would like to watch Deviate if we can for this part, as he does have those lights set up. He's still on the 50 gold. I want to see, so that's 2 Sorakahs as well.
Yep, 2 Sorakahs, 2 Jaxes, has some Zyras and some 1 Varus there. Isn't picking up the Varus in the shop, however. Maybe would if he decides to either sell the Zyras or get some money from the Krugs here. Ooh, gets a spatula. Okay. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Can make a light, actually.
It's a tier.
Yeah.
Can make a light.
Can make a light.
If he wants to hard commit, there's a Jax.
Let's see
if he goes. He's going.
He's going, yeah. Rolling for these lights. Hasn't found a Nasus yet. Okay, there's one.
Yeah.
There is one. Not finding veins,
There's a
though.
couple more Nasus.
Yeah. Really needs
veins
these
what
veins.
He wants, though. How far is he gonna go? Does he go all the way?
I'm not sure. Hard to say.
Nasus. More Jax.
Okay.
Oh, he skipped a Jax.
Yeah, skipped that Jax, unfortunately, but picked up the Aatrox there. Found a Rissakah. Yeah.
That's Rissakah too. At this point, he's committed, right? Well,
yeah,
he still the Zyras and Econ a little bit, save a little bit if you wanted to.
Okay, has a Kog'Maw as well. Probably will just sell that. Wins the round versus Chicken Boba. That's pretty good. Yeah, decides to keep on rolling. did not find a single vein
There's one.
until now. Okay, there's one.
Caster curse. Or caster blessing in this case, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh man, hate to see that. I thought DV was gonna find the vein 3, really early on, and be like, all right, we're done, we're chilling.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the success of the reroll. It feels like not bad, but
Not
like,
good.
Yeah, but like not good, right?
Not good.
He
Okay.
missed that Jax too. That probably would have been helpful to have be on 6 Jaxes.
Did miss Jax. I mean, players, under stress of playing a tournament and having to roll really fast.
It's absolutely can
it's
happen
intense.
going for those reroll strats. You got to make sure you go in quick, and very easy to just lose a unit and all of that. But this Zyra, it's DXN still only on the tier 1 Zyra. He definitely trying to find the T2. Definitely not hoping to be a T1 Andy the entire game, but we'll have to see.
Only has the one. It hasn't even found a pair of Zyras either. Has the tier 2 Thresh and has 4 Oceans though, so that is pretty good right now. I would have liked to see DV8 pick up that Kindred last round and make Kindred a light, I think, in his Rush 6. Just accept the fact that I rolled down 50 plus gold, didn't find any vein, or found one vein, but that's just kind of unfortunate. But just accept that and level up. Try to just make the 6 lights carry him into the mid game, and then try to just work out what's best from there.
Hopefully trickle in some of the T3s as well, since he's fairly close to them. It's just it no longer has the gold to spare for it.
No,
I agree with you though. I think that would have been. I think I would have liked to see that. We'll see. We'll have to see the route that DV8 does end up going though. He should be pretty strong for now. Overall, DXN gonna be losing a couple more rounds.
Sphinx with that Blade Master Nocturne. Sphinx actually had a tier 2 Blade Master Nocturne, a tier 2 Sivir as well. Pretty early on. I mean, at this point, it's not unheard of, obviously, to have these 3 cost tier 2 units, but having the Nocturne and the Sivir, 2 very, very key parts of that composition here, bodes well, is a big reason why Sphinx is in 2nd place currently. Professsor TFT, though, 97 HP and on a win streak, so curious to see what composition that he is running. Faye also on a win streak as well right now, though. Has a tier 2 Kindred.
I think DXN's just trying to make the redemption arc like really good here. He's got to make it so not only is it across the entire tournament, but this game he's got to drop real low first before he climbs his way back to the top. Really making us work for it. Making us really sit there and be with him all the way through, feel his struggle, we can
really resonate with that, just there the whole way through. I mean, it's really just a Zyra difference right now for DXN. That Zyra 1 is just not cutting it right now. If that was a Zyra 2, I would say I would think we'd see DXN up at least top 4 right now, if not maybe top 2. Just a little bit unfortunate though, but we see Professsor TFT has an Ezreal 2 with Ludens and Runans right now. Ludens Ezreal, I think I saw a very, very good player by the name of Keen spamming Ezreal for a time, and it had some mixed success. It was decent. Ezreal didn't miss that Q, unfortunately. Or missed that ultimate, I guess, in this case. This isn't Summoner's Rift, so Zyra did survive. But Professsor TFT
missing his Mystic Shot.
Mystic Shot, that's what I was. I was like kind of sure that was it, but I wasn't quite sure. But you always got my back on the ability names. Feels good, man. But a couple of Brahms inside of the Professsor TFT there. We see Striving Light, still having that Zyra too, and that's a lot of mana items. That's a Seraphs and a Shojins. Does have a Rod on the bench. Maybe want to make that Morello's soon, perhaps after this round. As it stands right now, Striving Light would pick 2nd on the carousel, but it depends on if she is able to win this round or not. We will see.
Interestingly, Striving Light does have the Zyra with the Seraphs and the Shojin on the Ocean tile, so it does proc the ultimate immediately, summoning those plants and getting the Shojins rolling. So this seems very powerful on the Ocean map. If she can find the summoner synergy so the plants live a bit longer, I feel like this Zyra will start doing just a immense amount of damage. I would actually like to see a Summoner's Adaptation out of the Striving Light this game for that reason, because so many plants are being able to be spawned.
Oh yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I like to see that as well. A bit unfortunate that she doesn't have any extra ability power on the Zyra. You know, has a rod, but it is on the bench for now. So while the plants are doing a decent amount of damage, they're not doing as much as they could be. Again, if there were to be extra AP, we see ZZ Rick going for a similar composition as we've seen past couple of games. This is, you know, as you've said, the players have their favorite compositions, and this is definitely ZZ Rick's favorite composition here. No Renekton though, as we saw in game 1. I wonder if it was really just a Renekton difference, having that tier 3 Renekton to carry. Not 100% sure. Picks up one Renekton.
Yeah, it's super interesting, because this comp felt so much better when it had a Renekton.
It really did.
We'll have to see. I'll have to give it another chance. I mean, I'm wondering if he will. Yeah, wondering if he'll be able to come back this game. But he's already at 40 HP, so it's definitely not looking good.
No.
And yet again, it's missing the Renekton. So I don't know. It's
okay.
I mean, correlation obviously does not equal causation, right? But the one game he had Renekton, it looked real good.
It really did, so I'm curious to check back in with him soon, but for now, we see DV8 does find Nasus 3 and Vayne 3 at the same time, curiously enough. Still has the potential to make something out of that spatula later. Is on level 5 though, does want to level up probably next round and find these 6 lights. That is a 2-item Vayne, pretty strong. Wants another item eventually. Does have a bow on the bench. Might be something with bow there. Will the Nasus be able to complete that round? Not sure. ZZ Rick, though, 1 Ivern away from Ivern 3, wins this round.
Yeah, that's huge. Finally going to come off of this 5 loss streak, going to start picking up some wins.
Yeah, Chicken Boba level 7. Curious to see what she has. She's riding the 4th place spot right now. Faye right above at 3rd. Okay, we see some Summoner Shadows here. Pretty strong overall. Has a Master E already, level 7. That's really, really good. Probably wants to put that Master E in for the Vladimir, I would say, to give 4 Shadows. But maybe wants the 2 Oceans instead? She wants to be able to fit that unit in, but can't for now at least. But there's 2 Yorks, 2 Annies. Chicken Bubba really wants to go to level 8 right now to fit all of this stuff in. We'll see though.
We see the Taric ultimate coming down, being able to keep a couple of the units alive. Chicken with Boba looks like definitely not going to win this round. Striving Light's composition, the Zyra being able to pump out a pretty decent amount of damage, still seeming to be a very strong unit in these games so far.
Indeed, and Striving Light, utilizing that to some great effectiveness here. We see Professsor TFT with 6 Brahms. I don't generally see players building for a tier 3 Braum, but going that glacial route. Has a lot of Volibears as well. Has an Olaf, so it's going to be taking out these woodlands.
Yeah, that will bring him to the 4
Berserker. Yeah. Has a couple of electrics as well. Ooh, I think I would really like to see Professsor TFT take out that Renekton and put in the Ornn instead for 3 electric. I know it's only a tier 1 Ornn, but Professsor TFT doesn't need that Renekton anymore for the Berserker synergy.
Yeah, I agree. That would be very good. Just get the little bit of extra synergy to help out, especially his Zed get out a good amount more damage.
Yeah.
And I think I do expect we will see that on the next round. I think he will recognize that and put it in. Looking forward, we've got...
Yeah, Professsor TFT still in first place, though. 61 HP. So that Ezreal, I think, has done a really good job at carrying him through this mid-game. It's just starting to fall off a little bit right now, so definitely needs to find those small improvements. To find that 3 electric, or just utilize 3 electric, and look to secure some more wins here. See what these players will go for. Only a few items left. Faye and Professsor TFT. top 2 spots right now. Professsor TFT picks up a sword, and Faye picks up a rod. I believe Faye is going a mage composition here, so it does make sense to pick up that rod.
Yeah, Striving Light can't get enough mana. Just get another tier.
That's at least 4 tiers thus far.
Yeah, it is. It would
exactly.
Be the tier.
Yeah, exactly 4 tiers, making mage Kiana 6 mages. Ooh. We see this again from Striving Light.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, 6 mages, 4 ocean already. I mean, this is looking like another great game from Striving Light. Kind of, if Sphinx doesn't have anything to say about it, it might end up putting her out of reach for a lot of the competitors here in this game 3, as she's already scored a first place and a second place in the previous 2 rounds, and her comp looks really scary already in this game. We do see her going against Faye, who also has a very powerful composition. The Shadow Summoners actually might be enough to take down Striving Light. Just as I was saying, her comp looks incredibly powerful, but all of these units coming out is just going to be way too much.
Yeah, it does look powerful, but she did decide last second there to take out that Zyra. Put the Shojins on the Kiana, but has the Seraph still on the bench. Doesn't want to commit that Seraph to anything yet, because there's a key unit that's missing here, and that is Brand. Striving Light does not have any brands thus far, which is really the key unit in Ocean Mage composition. One that she's been playing all night so far.
That is true.
Yeah, has 9 units in.
Yeah, she ends up putting the Seraphs in just to get a little bit more power going for her right now. We are... Oh, the one thing I didn't notice is the Zyra has been subbed out.
Yeah, swapped that out the very last second of last round. And that maybe that's part of the reason why she ended up losing there. As Zyra, as we've talked about, is a very, very good unit, especially in the early to mid game. I know we're getting to a bit of the late game here. We'll see if the Kiana is able to fill that role of a carry.
Yeah, and I mean, so far, the Kiana's doing a lot of damage, but it seems like she's mostly just kind of single targeting a few down. That was a much better ulti there. She's able to hit 2 people, killing them both instantly. Does a lot of damage when she does actually connect.
Yeah.
So
that Kiana connecting 2 targets, I mean, is insane, because that 6 mage and Kiana being a mage, she will always guarantee double cast, 100%. With that 6 mage, so that was a ton of damage there. I think it was 700 per cast, 1400 total to both of those targets. Pretty insane damage. So he's easy Rick here.
She is pretty much one-shotting anything that she gets the ult off on. The only issue I'm seeing with the comps right now, though, with the Kiana is the only source of damage that we were seeing out of Striving Light's comp. So in the event that the Kiana gets Zephyred or crowd controlled or ends up going down early on, she's not going to have many options to recover and will actually lose a lot of HP, especially if the Kiana goes down quickly. So the Brand, as you talked about, is definitely imperative for her to pick up. She needs the multi-threat composition to come out later on in order to make sure that she still stays relevant throughout this game and can kind of stay relevant if the Kiana goes down.
Definitely. 100%. We see Deviate here, rolling it down, looking for some upgrades. Is a couple away from Jax. 3 is 1 away from Yorick. 2. Wanted to maybe put a Singed in, but has the Janna in for Mystics, and Mystics will be really good versus Striving Light's composition here, considering that she is mages. Oh, Kiana just absolutely decimating that H.
The Mystics are not enough to save from the double cast Kiana, as it is just ripping apart everything that it gets its hands on. Yeah, Kiana going to be able to keep killing off units. Was silenced briefly by the Rissakah, but able to keep pumping out the damage. Counter-strike from Jax not going to be enough, and yeah, that's going to be some more damage going on to DV8. The Lights proving why they aren't really meta. DV8 trying to give us give the people something else, and it hasn't really been working out for it.
Unfortunately not here. Yeah, I mean, that is a tier 3 Vayne with 3 items, but it just isn't enough. Tier 3 Nasus, and usually you'd want some tanky items on the Nasus, but only has a Hand of Justice, I believe. So not quite optimal. Do you see Chicken Boba here? Did manage to get to level 8. Does have those 4 shadows and summoners, infernos in. Has 4 summoners, in fact, actually, with a Zyra in there. Zyra is giving Inferno. Might like to see that replaced with a Varus, because it would give Ranger as well. But Chicken Boba running into Striving Light here.
Yeah, wow. The Talia goes off immediately and sends the Malzahar directly into the center of Striving Light's comp, making it die immediately. And that's one of Chicken with Boba's carries in her Summoner Shadow composition, is that Malzahar. So with it going down instantly at the start of that round, she didn't have any damage to answer back and takes a ton of damage for it. DV8 finally going to go down, but ZZ Rick actually ends up in 8th. DV8 able to hold on long enough.
Yeah, DV8 getting 7th, getting a few more points there as Easy Rick, that hyper roll woodland that found a pretty good success in game 1, is not really cutting it these past couple of games. Maybe it's the loss of that Renekton? Not quite sure, but 8th place this game. Has one more game to redeem the strategy though, or just his placements. We see Faye here, 49 HP, leading the pack with Shadow Summoners as well. It's a composition that's not really like, you know, the holy trinity of comps, I guess, but is right under that, and it's finding a bit of success right now.
Yeah, there were 2 people playing it in this game, both Faye and Chicken with Boba. But Faye deciding to stack her Yi. We do see the Yi kind of disappeared under the Kiana somewhere in the middle of that fight. Couldn't quite notice it. But yeah, Sphinx also running a Kiana. But that's Sphinx has quietly gotten a tier 3 Nocturne. If you would take a look at your monitor straight ahead, you will notice the T3 Nocturne killing everything on that board.
That's crazy. Sphinx Deathblade, yep. Oh man. I think though that tier 3 Nocturne had 1 item slot available, so this Deathblade is going to be prime item. Maybe not the best, but right under that. Definitely not upset to be taking a Deathblade for that tier 3 Nocturne right now. Sphinx in 5th place currently. Chicken Boba did fall in 6th there, unfortunately, but yeah, Sphinx is 1 away from a Silver 3 actually as well. Finds it. Sphinx's composition looks pretty freaking strong right now.
Okay.
Oh, they want to put that on the Sivir instead of the Nocturne, actually. Interesting. Okay. I respect it.
That's a scary composition there, for sure. Tier 3 Sivir, Tier 3 Nocturne, stacked items on both.
Yeah, and the Kiana as well. I mean, that's a lot of items.
That Kiana's gonna basically pop someone straight off the gates. Let's just go ahead and watch that. And, well, ends up getting a summon, so, you know, not as good. But still, this Nocturne dealing an absurd amount of damage. Same with the Sivir. I mean, I think Sphinx is definitely running his way to the finish line, trying to speed run the rest of this game with the amount of damage he's going to be doing to other people. Striving Light taking quite a bit there. She is on level 9, while Sphinx is on level 7, but the quality of the units are just so much higher.
Oh, exactly. It's just that quality of those units. I mean, 2 tier 3 cost units, that's hard to get. At even, you know, like the end game top 2, let alone with 5 players left. We'll see what adjustments are made to try to counter that. Finally, 1 brand being found by Striving Light here. Is that going to be enough, though? She is at 14 HP. 1 more bad loss, and that will spell defeat. So we will find out how this is going to go soon. Is facing Shadow Summoners with a tier 2 Master Yi.
Yeah, it is going to be a clone army, though, so we'll see if that changes anything here. We see the Kiana still pumping out a lot of damage. DXN trying to hold on. Actually, DXN, the Redemption Arc? Is it here? I mean, he's still getting smashed by Sphinx, but still, you know, he's got some HP.
Not going to be at this point. Like, Sphinx is going to be
everyone's going to get smashed by Sphinx. That's, you know, but DXN was at the bottom.
He was. I mean,
crawling his way back up. He's got the brand 2. He's got 4 Ocean, 3 Summoner, 3 Mage. He's got some good stuff out here. There's a Ludens off this Dragon too. That's not a bad item for him to pick up here. Not at all.
Not terrible. I'll probably put that on either the Syndra or the Vladimir. It still has a Zyra 1, but has found a brand 2. And that's going to be a large part of why DXN is currently sitting at 2nd place. This might just be a play for a second kind of lobby. I'm not honestly 100% sure, but Sphinx's composition extremely scary right now.
Yeah. I think play for second lobby is not a bad way to put it, right? Like, I don't know if it's guaranteed over for Sphinx having it, right? Because he is still at 7, doesn't have an insane amount of gold. There are people in the game at 9 already, and they're probably still working towards getting some major upgrades.
Yeah.
But it's looking pretty rough. Tier 3 Nocturne, going to get a Warmogs now, going to be even tankier, even harder to bring down.
Yeah. Everyone's just so low HP right now that this game might be over in a few more rounds. So while they are, these other players are on level 9 trying to find some more units, trying to find some more upgrades to really solidify the end of their endgame composition, like Sphinx is going to be killing these players very quickly.
I may speak too soon, but it feels like musical chairs, and the chair that gets pulled out is actually just running into Sphinx, and then you lose your spot in the game.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that's accurate here. I don't know if that'll do quite enough. It's hard to tell.
No.
It's pushed into a corner, but
not quite enough there. Faye's on 1 HP.
DXN does go down. I'm not sure to who, but he's going to go out in 5th. Oh, I talked up the redemption arc, and suddenly he's gone.
No.
Gets knocked out almost immediately afterwards. Faye on 1 HP. Striving Light down to 14. But yeah, Sphinx definitely at this point is going to be just trying to clean house. So everyone else is just hoping that they don't pull that straw and run into Sphinx so they can hold on a little bit longer, place a little bit higher, and maybe, just maybe, get enough upgrades to pull out the win.
That is what they are working towards here. Faye on that 1 HP finds herself facing Striving Light here. Does get a really good Zephyr onto the Kiana though. Is that going to make the difference?
Yeah, we'll have to see. It is definitely going to give her some time, but I don't know if it will be enough time, as it looks like these Nami waves coming across are hitting too many members, and Faye's going to go down in 4th here. Still picking up a reasonable amount of points, keeping herself competitive, but Striving Light again in this top 3.
Yeah, very impressive by her. Sphinx lost that last round, actually. Sphinx lost to Professsor TFT. Professsor TFT, I haven't checked in on in a bit, but has, I believe, a tier 3 Braum and a tier 3 Volibear, as well as tier 3 Ezreal. So, yeah.
When did that happen? That's interesting. It's a T2 Olaf too, actually, so that's pretty powerful in itself.
T2 as well. With
definitely looking for some.
This comp's
when did this happen? He's nuts.
I don't know.
He's crazy. Look, he's freezing everybody. Look at this Olaf go. He's got the Bloodthirster. He's trying to put out a lot of damage, but it looks like actually Striving Light's Kiana is just ripping through his comp, and Professsor TFT is going to die immediately. He has this comp out of nowhere, and then instantly dies. Dude, what? Where did Sphinx go down?
Striving Light must take it down Sphinx. Striving Light secured 6 Ocean and 6 Mage and took down the Nocturne.
Did a clone army kill Sphinx?
Yeah, maybe it was the clone army of
Professsor TFT because we beat him earlier.
I'm not sure which clone army that was. It could have been either. Wow.
Oh my god.
That was an abrupt end to the game. Like I said, it'd be over probably in a few rounds, but I was expecting it to not be with Sphinx going down. I believe it was 3rd place. Yeah, no.
Not like that. That's not at all how I expected that to go. Well, Striving Light though, taking 1st again, starting off with that Zyra, converting to another comp this time. Didn't stick with the Zyra the entire game, but still kind of playing to her guns and ending up with this Kiana, which we questioned for a round just because it didn't seem to be. It seemed to be weaker. It seemed to not be doing as well. But very quickly, it picked up and it was able to win round after round and eventually win the game. I don't know if she would have beaten Sphinx, but she had some backup, I guess. It seemed like with that glacial comp, maybe coming out clutch. I wish I knew what happened on that Phantom board. It's so interesting.
Maybe find out a bit later, but yeah, we'll take a look at the scores here. Striving Light a second place into 2 first place thus far. I want to say this is the best that a player has performed in a fight night thus far. I'm not exactly remembering the early ones and those scores, but either way, Striving Light is dominating right now.
Yeah, we will have to take a look at the history of Fight Nights because this may be, as you said, the best. And if it's not the best, it is most certainly one of the best performances we have ever seen. And there's still one game to go to really solidify it as such a performance. But the standings are still close enough to see some movement, as definitely, especially with Sphinx. Only 6 points behind does have to mean there will be a gap between the placements for Sphinx to come back and take this, because right now Striving Light has a very commanding lead at 38.
Oh yeah, there'll have to be a huge gap in points, as I think Striving Light has to face or has to place a bottom 4 for Sphinx to be able to win. But we get game number 4 underway here, and this is the last chance for these players. This is the last game. It all comes down to this. We get another ocean map, so 2 Inferno, 2 oceans, no mountain or clouds tonight. But that's okay. I don't mind an ocean map myself, and I'm sure a lot of these ocean mage players aren't going to mind it either. Chicken Boba starting with that LeBlanc sword there.
I'm sure Striving Light is very happy to see, look at this, ocean map, tier already. This is looking good for the compositions she has been running.
Oh, definitely. I'm over here taking notes. I'm going to take these strategies and climb later on tonight and tomorrow with this. It is interesting, actually, because not a lot of players will go the 6 mage variant, but Striving Light is going 6 mage, even prioritizing that over a lot of other things, even over 4 oceans at times, and is making it work. I was a bit skeptical of that at the beginning, but she's playing it flawlessly, and you know, it's looking strong. It's looking extremely strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's seemingly very consistent as well. I mean, she has gotten the items she wants, but she's hard forcing them from Carousel. It doesn't seem like her items are being contested because there's other compositions that want very different items. So she's able to find it every game and consistently is winning with it.
Oh, definitely. Oh man, impressive performance. Impressive performance thus far. But, you know, make sure to get those cheers also into the chat for the player that you want to win. And will it be Striving Light, or are you all rooting for somebody else? The redemption arc for DXN, perhaps? I'm not sure. Might be a little bit too late for that one. I don't know. But we will see. Facing a lot of gold here thus far. Already on 14 gold. Only one item, though, so she's gotten gold for 2 rounds in a row. See if she's able to make a dent here.
Yeah, if she can find some tier 2 units, then getting this gold early actually isn't quite as bad, especially as it used to be in set 1 with getting the gold early. Could lead to a lot of issues, but you do get a lot more gold now. So being able to set up and have a lot of that early econ can still work out for you as long as you don't lose too much of your HP.
Definitely. Alright, I think if DXN, does not reach top 3 this game, or maybe it even needs first this game to be able to secure a top 3 overall for the night, then it'll be almost 2 months since he started appearing on Fight Night and will not be returning if that is the case. So DXN really needs to find some success here in this game. I'm not sure what composition he's going to need to run for that, but needs to find it one way or another.
Yeah, it will be one of the first and only times that we don't have DXN at a Fight Night if he can't pull it together in this game. So we'll have to see if he can bring it back. But for now, so far, his luck has not been that good so far in the rest of these sets today.
No, not at all. But no, definitely something else I wanted to note is that Faye, while she hasn't been getting top 2, she has gotten, I believe, a 3rd place and 2 4th places, so is securing that top 4, but just barely. Yeah, she is in 3rd place right now, I believe. Yeah, Professsor TFT right behind. But Striving Light and Sphinx, definitely the two front runners here.
Yeah, we're going to see that's T2 Diana for DXN here with a Morello's.
Yeah.
We did see Diana doing quite a bit in the first couple fight nights that we had with set 2.
Yeah, she's been nerfed since then, though.
Yes.
Like pretty heavily. Diana is she does behave like a 1-cost unit now.
Yes,
Strangely
no
enough.
longer the 4-cost unit that you just get for 1 cost. She
Nope.
now functions properly.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
as such, we don't see very much Diana anymore. We see, on occasion, her being picked up in the early games, but yeah, overall have not seen very many Diana pickups. This one, I assume, is just DXN found the pairs, put it in, got a Morello because it's a good item, and will probably transition that to his Zyra, which he does have 2 of on the bench currently.
Yep. That is probably going to be the route. DXN finds a couple of Vladimirs as well, and is playing some Woodlands. Had that LeBlanc, does find another one. Woodlands with the Diana 2 be pretty strong right now. Maybe we'll maintain that 100 HP and keep that win streak going into this carousel. Sphinx, though, another player that is on 100 HP. Curious what Sphinx has. Maybe some Ocean. Yeah, some Ocean Mages. Maybe Sphinx. It'll be a game where Sphinx does not go Blademaster Nocturne.
Yeah, I think in his first game, actually, Sphinx was the one with the Olaf. I was thinking it was Professsor TFT had the Olaf, but I think it was actually Sphinx had the Olaf in the first game.
Yeah.
But then he went back-to-back games
Buffalo.
with the Blademaster Nocturne.
Yep.
But this game, yeah, very widely off course for that, going towards the Ocean Mages. And it's been a successful composition for many people, but if a lot of people are trying to go it this time, it'll be interesting to see who gets the pieces, because if a lot of people are building it and one person starts to get the pieces, it's definitely going to be a landslide victory for them or someone who is going on an off composition, something that is not being run.
Yeah, definitely. For Sphinx there, Sphinx is a really early Syndra 2, actually. You're generally not getting 2-cost tier 2 units that early, but part of the reason why Sphinx does still have 100 HP here, going to be looking to be really strong into the late stages of this early game, and after Krugs into the mid game. Sphinx doing a little bit of emoting there. Waiting for his turn to pick in this carousel. Professsor TFT picked up a tier. We see Striving Light picked up a sword. I believe she had a tier, so going to be making a Shojins with that. DXN belt, Faye, Rod, ZZ Rick, bow, DV8 tier. And Boba, I believe, had a glove. And maybe see a couple of predators here. DV8 looking to make the Ludens in the Kog'Maw. Doesn't have 3 predators though, so unfortunately doesn't have that power spike. Considering what he wants to do with these items now, perhaps we'll just hold on to them for now though. But we do see DV8 picking first in the carousel for the 4th game in a row. Not a strong early game player, it seems. Maybe just a bit unlucky.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be going for Preds here. Looks maybe a hyper roll strat. He's got 3 Warwicks, 4 Kog'Maws already. Missing a couple of the other ones, but...
Yeah, runs into Faye though. Faye looking strong right now.
Yeah, definitely. Kog'Maw trying to pick up a few of the kills here. Predators trying to pop off, but gonna go down. DV8 gonna take a bit more damage here.
Yep, Faye with that pretty good early game there. She is in 6th place currently, but still has a relatively strong composition overall. There's a lot of players around that 90 to 85 HP mark. The 2nd through 7th place players. ZZ Rick again with some woodlands. Or some druids, I guess, not having 3 woodlands in right now, but we'll look to do that soon. Ooh, a couple of Maokais. That's what ZZ Rick likes to see. If he is going to be going for that hyper roll woodlands, but it doesn't look like that though. It looks like ZZ Rick will be going for some Ocean Mages this game. So a bit of diversity.
Yeah, he's got Ocean Mage and the Woodland as well. He's got the tier 2 Ivern. He's got 5 Maokais already, 2 LeBlancs. I mean, we could see some kind of hybrid build at the early game and then transitioning, I assume, into Ocean Mages, but there's a lot of people going towards Ocean Mages. So it's definitely going to be rough in that regard.
Yeah, not everyone's going to be able to find all the units. There is a limited amount in the pool. I would have liked to see ZZ Rick put in the woodlands here, though, but opts to not for now. Wants to put the Nautilus and the Vladin instead. Going to probably be falling here, though, to Professor TFT's comp. I'm not sure, actually.
It depends,
Maybe not.
actually. Yeah, there's a lot of sustain on the side of ZZ Rick. He's got another shield coming up. I don't think that's the target he wanted that shield to go on, actually, but it will keep him alive. The Vlad's got to go off. No, he doesn't. The Vlad does not get the transfusion off, and that will actually cost him that, but this is a lot closer than I expected there. Professor TFT able to still continue to get those wins. Sphinx still at 100 HP. He has not lost on that win streak. He's going for those Ocean Mages, as we talked about earlier, already at 4 Ocean 3 Mage.
Yeah, pretty good comp there. Sphinx, one of those players that can contest Striving Light for maybe securing first place. I mean, it's been those two at the top for the majority of the games. So we'll see. I mean, Striving Light does have a Zyra too, with a Shojins and a Morello's. Very strong. I'm probably convinced that she's not going to bottom 4 this game with this start. Obviously, does depend on the rolls later on into the game, but again, a good start for her.
Yeah,
find another Syndra for that Syndra pair. Yeah.
Can't believe she's got the Zyra again with the almost all the items she wants. Oh yeah, I mean,
for early game,
the two
at
most
least.
important ones, and then still needing to find the third, but still, I mean,
yeah,
we'll see if it's just a repeat of the first 3 games, and she gets up to the top 4. I mean, top 2.
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, Striving Light doesn't mind taking early damage if it means, you know, just farming that economy, having that Zyra carry her through most of the fights, and just be able to early level to 8. I believe she's early level to 8 and early level to 9 throughout the course of tonight. We'll see if that's going to remain the strategy. See Faye here versus Sphinx. Sphinx still 100 HP. Will Faye be able to take him out? Not looking like it.
Yeah, Sphinx still able to hold on with his Ocean Mage composition. Definitely, he was the one, I believe, that was on the 4 Ocean 3 Mage, having very strong synergies already. Faye with the Druid Woodland, they're not incredibly high tier units. It's not to the point that they're outscaled yet, of course. It's still very early game, but it's just running into someone who has a bit more high quality units that are already T2s with those T2 synergy of Ocean already. Definitely rough to run into. Sphinx comp very strong. And he's going to snowball this if he can continue to find the units he needs. The hard thing for Sphinx here is actually finding those units because so many people are looking for them. And that's kind of the saving grace for a lot of the other players in this lobby right now, is because they're so hotly contested, Sphinx may not snowball as hard as he would if, say, for instance, he was playing something that was not being played by as many other people.
Yeah, definitely. So it might be a bit rough going into this mid game when everyone's going to try to find those same units. That fight that Sphinx just had was pretty close there, actually, versus DV8. DV8 has hyper rolled for that Kog'Maw and Predators and has hit the Kog'Maw 3. Definitely going to be pretty strong, but unfortunately not quite enough to beat Sphinx at this current time in the game.
Yeah, which is not boding well for DV8, the fact that he's not beating the Ocean Mage comps early game, because late game, generally the Ocean Mage would be a scaling composition that would beat him late. We'll see if he can take down DXN, though, who's also running a kind of Ocean Mage style comp with a couple of extra summoners thrown in. The Chaser Kog'Maw might still be able to win this, but another Tibbers does come down, so that's probably not going to bode well. Yeah, DV8 going to lose a little bit more HP. Obviously not much from that one, with only Annie still alive.
Yep, DV8 picking first again on the carousel. ZZ Rick joining him. ZZ Rick picking up that spatula, and DV8 opting to go for that static shiv. I believe is going to make that, put the tier on the Kog'Maw. I mean, hovering over it, definitely a sign. And yeah, we see the bottom two players deviate, and ZZ Rick, Chicken with Boba in 6th, Professsor TFT in 5th. Striving Light sitting around middle of the pack right now, but she is scaling indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having those items on her Zyra, as long as she can find other units. I wondered to see if she will adapt away from the Ocean Mage, but find something else that she can do with the Zyra in the mid game as a carry, just because of the fact that Ocean Mage is so hotly contested in this game, and it might be hard for her to find the units that she needs. That's a good boy.
Yep.
There's a talk on camera. What a good boy. Coming to support Striving Light in this final game.
Pen the doggo. Doggo needs love too. But yeah, we do see, in fact, Ocean Mage, so it's the route that she's looking to go. Doesn't opt to put in the Syndra right now for the Talia to get 4 Oceans. Sphinx's comp right now, though.
Jeez.
Real scary.
So much.
Level 6 right now, but yeah, has the Malphite in for the mountain buff. That tier 2 Syndra, tier 2 Thresh with a couple of tanky items as well. Really making the difference right now in this mid game.
I can't stop looking at the dog. I'm distracted. I'm distracted. It's such a good boy on the screen, you know, and sometimes it's hard to pay attention to the gameplay. But back at it. We will have to see what she can do to adapt, because of course right now it seems like the person who has come across the most Ocean and Mages has been Sphinx, and therefore he's able to econ all the way up to 50 gold already, and he's going to start being able to level up towards whether it be 9 or whatever he's wanting to do. Generally with Ocean Mage, we have been seeing the level 9 as kind of the big break point.
Yeah, you're able to find 6 Mage and 6 Ocean, potentially, as we briefly saw Striving Light do last game before it abruptly ended. But yeah, Sphinx is on 5 Oceans right now, decided to play that Kiana, and I think it's going to be, it's going to be what he needs to continue that win streak. Indeed, DXN's Zyra, not quite enough.
But DXN actually did pretty well into Sphinx's comp, considering.
Yeah, definitely.
Generally, we've seen Sphinx kind of winning very handedly, but DXN able to kind of hold on, only take damage from 2 units there.
Has Zephyr, has a few summoners, I believe, at least 2. Okay, it just has the 2, has Oceans, and hopefully using those Oceans to have the Annie caster ultimate for Tibbers and have the Zyra cast a lot of plants. But 45 gold, not bad right now. I'm going to be looking to level up to 7 and probably be playing 3 summoners, I would think. But we shall see.
Yeah, I do assume that he will go the 3 summoners, as you said. It does make the most sense here. Definitely seems like summoners are a little bit less contested overall than the Ocean Mage is, so going for a summoner route with his Ocean that he already has does seem like a very good route to take.
Indeed. Professsor TFT, a little bit chill in the middle of the pack, has a brand. It's going to probably be rolling to see if he can find a brand 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to be looking for them right now, so I do kind of like the idea of rolling for it, trying to find it as fast as possible, and we're going to see a couple rolls coming out. We'll see how deep he rolls down.
Just needs to find one more, because there is a Nico on the bench of Professsor TFT. So only needs to find 2 of those units and can make a copy of one to make that tier 2. Fighting Sphinx, who has acquired 2 brands thus far. 2 brands chilling on the bench. Doesn't put them in right now, though.
TFT does actually find his brand that he needed and copies it with the Nico, so he will have that tier 2 brand going into the next round. Fortunately, wasn't able to find it before this round, but I'm not sure if that would have saved him against Sphinx. It probably would have helped.
Maybe. It's possible.
I don't know if it would win the round. Hard to say. Hard to say for sure. But that is going to go up.
Dominating with that. I mean, 11 wins in a row here. I'm not sure if the brand 2 would have been enough, but yeah, it could have been. See what adjustments Sphinx looks to make here. Decides to keep the brands on the bench, perhaps? Okay, no, puts one in. Sells the Talia. think that's fine considering that Sphinx is not running mountains anymore. Doesn't have the Malphite. But how long can this win streak go on for, though? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, the Ocean buff still doing wonders for Sphinx. This Kiana getting into the backline, a lot of backline access, and really his composition is deceptively tanky. It seems to be surviving for so long every time. I mean, it's a mix of the Tibbers, Vladimir actually being a bit beefier, and just having the Nautilus in the front line just really helping him out.
Yeah, Nautilus and Thresh. Thresh giving those shields as well. The 4 Ocean buff helping Thresh get those shields out more often. And the Warden buff as well. You know, they buff each other's armor. They're both sitting at probably around 100 armor right now because of that Warden buff. That's the power of Ocean Mages. You get a bit of everything there, including tankiness for your front line. Double Shojins. Double Shojins and a Jeweled Golem inside Chicken with Boba here. She is struggling a little bit at 33 HP right now, but isn't quite in last place. Actually, Striving Light is in last right now, 25 HP. Gonna check in with her. I'm gonna have to check in with her soon, but for now, we see if Chicken with Boba can take out Sphinx.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the few timelines that would allow for Sphinx to come away with the first place finish on the night. So Striving Light just needs to look to hang on for as long as possible here, because right now it was looking like Sphinx might look for 100 to 100 HP victory, but no, Chicken with Boba gonna be able to silence that real quick. Gonna pick up the win over Sphinx, take a couple HP off of him.
The power of the Zyra there. I mean, Zyra did a whole bunch of damage, and that seemed to be what made the difference there. Chicken with Boba seems to be pretty strong right now. A couple of upgraded shadows with those summoners and oceans. Has a couple of mages, maybe look to go 8 and put in 3 mage. But we will see. We see Striving Light pick up the spatula. Maybe has a fawn, I'm not quite sure. DV8 though, on a win streak. DV8 hasn't found too much success in these games thus far, but is looking pretty solid here, it seems.
Yeah, the hyper roll pred's kind of working out for him here. It looks like Striving Light finally gets to the 6 mages. It's on 3 Ocean right now.
Doesn't have any frontline though.
The problem is, no frontline, and also just a couple T1 units still remaining with the Nami and the Syndra, as well as the brand. All the items on this T1 brand as the Zyra comes out.
Oof.
We'll see if she can find some wins with this. It's unfortunate. She still committed to this Ocean Mage composition, and so many other people were going for it this time that it was much harder for her to find the pieces she needed, and it's definitely causing a lot of problems. The brand ulti gonna go off. Nami gonna try and pick up as many kills as she can, but Striving Light is dropping very low, down to 4 HP.
Yep.
Needs to hang on just a little bit longer, or she needs Sphinx to start dropping quick.
One of the two, and that's for sure. Would be quite a shame to go out in 8th place for her 4th game here. Probably is going to level up here. Yep. Decides to do just that. Puts the Malphite in. Maybe the little bit of tankiness will allow her to hold on. Needs to find another upgrade though.
Yeah, if she could find a Nautilus to get the 4th Ocean to replace that Malphite, could be really good for her. She does have the mountain buff, but I think the 4 Ocean synergy would be slightly better.
Maybe he does need that 1500 shield though for the tankiness. I'm not sure.
True.
4 Ocean, I mean, both are good. I can see the argument for both of them. But we will see. Needs to hold on at least one more round to survive until Raptors. Facing Sphinx, though.
That might be it. I mean, we're going to have to see, but I'm under the impression that Sphinx is very likely going to take this one now. Kiana able to get some backline access, kills off one member already. Brand going to get the Pyroclasm out. It actually does kill off a lot of units, but that's a huge Syndra bubble thrown down. But Striving Light stays alive, takes down Sphinx on that round. That's huge. ZZ Rick falls down to 7 HP here as well. There's a couple people in death percentages. Striving Light just needs to hold on a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer indeed. I actually think it's good that she ran into Sphinx there, because Sphinx hasn't been rolling that much recently. So Sphinx comp power level has decreased pretty drastically over the course of stage 4 here, but is on 50 gold. Like, if you're Sphinx, you're not really sweating that loss. You have a lot of HP to work with. You have a lot of gold to work with. You have everything that you need.
Yeah, the only reason you're sweating that loss if you're Sphinx is when you're looking at the standings for the fight night as a whole. Because normally for this game state, that's not a big deal for you. But Striving Light staying alive in the game just means it's less likely for Sphinx to come away with the victory on the night.
Very, very true. So, can Striving Light hold on here? Has a lot of pairs. Sells the Nami to roll. Finds the Malphite. Okay, it's a bit of frontline. Still is only working with a brand 1 though. Really, really needs that brand 2. It makes a Quicksilver because what else are you gonna make at this point?
Yeah, that definitely helps though, I think. And the mountain synergy that you were talking about, that massive shield, it does seem to be helping quite a bit. It goes on a perfect target here, going on to that Vladimir. Gonna be able to give a lot of space right now. Running into Chicken with Boba, the Pyroclasm coming across. That's a massive tidal wave from the Nami, but the brand from Chicken with Boba gonna be able to do a lot of damage, and that's gonna take down Striving Light. Is that gonna be in 8th? It is barely in 8th. Oh no. Definitely gonna keep this very close between Sphinx and Striving Light. We're gonna have to see where Sphinx places, because that is the race for first in this fight night.
Yeah, ZZ Rick falling as well that round, but in 7th. Oh man, that was a close one, but yeah, unfortunately Striving Light does fall there. We see players, one player in single digits, Faye, 9 HP, Professsor TFT not too far behind. Can these players hang on, or will Sphinx start to get outscaled? That is the question right now.
Absolutely. DXN squaring off with Chicken with Boba here. We see the Pyroclasm come out, but all of these summons just doing work, and that's going to be a lot of damage going down onto Chicken with Boba. 19 damage, dropping her down to 4 HP. Faye gets knocked out, actually. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that drops down. We're in our final 4 here. And it's getting really tight.
Quick. Yep. Chicken Boba 4 HP as well. The top 3 players, have 40 plus HP. Got DXN working with some 6 oceans and no mages, just oceans and summoners. Interestingly enough, I mean, they still work pretty well together, being able to summon those units a bit more often. These players are strong though.
If my math is correct, which it probably isn't, if Sphinx gets 3rd or higher, he will win the night. He will win this week's fight night. So
that's looking likely
Striving Light is hoping that Chicken with Boba can hang on, and that everyone else can hang on.
Chicken Boba falls.
But no, Chicken with Boba falls, and I think that will mean that Sphinx is going to win fight night this week.
I think so. To check,
we will have to see, because of course,
caster math
isn't my strong suit. But I think I'm right. I think I'm right. So we'll have to keep seeing. We'll have to see. Sphinx still needs to try and hang on, try and get this first place finish. Make sure to secure this.
Indeed. DXN did take a lot of damage last round, but Deviate, making a good game 4 here. Has predators, has poisons, has a couple of steals as well. Is on a 10 win streak right now. Found a lot of good units. Has a Singe too. I mean, Singe 2, you're not going to get much better than that. That's kind of like the key unit you want in this composition, and he found it. Will it be enough though to take down Sphinx? Sphinx has found a brand 2, is on 6 ocean, 3 mage. We shall see. DV8 versus Sphinx here.
Yeah, DV8 still on this 10 win streak. The Predator hyper rolling working out for him. Doesn't work out for DXN usually, but has worked out this time around.
Indeed.
DV8 finding some success here. It looks like he'll be able to take down Sphinx on this round as well. Keep his win streak rolling.
It was pretty close. All right, I think we're getting some updated scores here. We see Striving Light does have 41 points. And Sphinx, yeah, Sphinx will get at least 10 points thus
Yeah.
far.
Will
So,
barely squeak by, and
yeah,
that will definitely secure his win. We'll see where the rest of the standings fall afterwards. But this is a victory lap here for Sphinx to see if he can get one more first place out of the way.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I already
Let's
claimed
go
the
brand
victory, but
two.
still, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe these other players can secure top threes to be invited back. We will see. Sphinx, though, facing against DXN here. DXN, I believe, yeah, still has the Zyra in there, but it doesn't look like that Zyra is enough. DXN will fall here in third. That brand doing 8k damage. Some really good items there on that guy. And it's Dragon Round. Both players over 50 or 50 HP or over on Dragon Round. Don't usually see that all of the time. Maybe see one player this high HP, but very rare to
Yeah,
have two.
we're gonna see a kind of a duel to the death here with DV8 and Sphinx going at it. We got Preds versus Ocean Mage. We do see that the brand 2 fully stacked on the side of Sphinx. Definitely a very strong unit, but the 4 poison as well on the side of DV8. And the Singed 2, I really like Singed as a unit. I feel like every time I see this unit, it does quite well. I think Poison as
Oh
a
yeah,
synergy is quite strong. But Singed itself, I feel like, is generally doing a lot of work in the games that I have seen it. It's pretty rare that I get to see one.
definitely. Singed is really, really good, especially versus Ocean Mages. Spraying that poison, running to that backline instantly, applying poison to everyone in his path. Generally, Ocean Mage is a counter comp to Predators, but I think Deviate just might be strong enough for that to not matter. I'm not really sure, but he still has 50 plus gold to work with. So whether that be used to go to level 9 or just roll for upgrades, I mean, already has a Singe 2, maybe rolls for a Rek'Sai 2 or a Taric 2, but we'll see. Yeah, we got Belevins with 1,000 cheer. Thank you very much. Big appreciate on that one. Get your cheers in. This is the last game. Will Deviate or Sphinx take it? I'm not sure. We're trying to find that out right now as this fight goes on.
Yeah, I really like the tech choice, though, from DV8 to get poison. I mean, as we see the Singe we were talking about, applying it to everyone. Actually, this is still very close. The
Yeah,
Predator
no,
should be able to close it out, but DV8 able to win that. I like the tech choice of the poison because it is Ocean Mage, because it is on the ocean map. Increasing those mana costs of all the units, especially with the Singed applying it to everyone, is definitely a massive counter, even though it would have been a potentially unfavorable matchup with Predators into Ocean Mage. So I really
Mhm.
like the tech choice of Poison, especially with the Singed being able to run in there.
This is interesting circumstance for Sphinx. I want to actually see Sphinx take out 2 oceans and go 2 more summoners. I think. I'm pretty sure that route is going to be what he needs, but we shall see.
Yeah, here
Finn's
yet
doing a
again,
bunch
I
of
mean that
work.
the poison instantly applied by Singed and it's not letting these casts come out nearly as quickly. But this time around, Brand does get to cast early enough that this might be enough. All of the units are very low on the side of Sphinx, but they
Yeah.
were able to stay alive long enough to not get picked off by that Predator.
I guess it is okay though because DV8 has a bunch of gold, both at 39 HP currently, but the gold difference is what's going to make or break this game. We see DV8 opt to go for the Mystics
Again,
to try to
another
help.
tech choice. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really liking that as well. Neither of
very,
these
very
units
smart.
are going to do anything, but the Mystic synergy is definitely going to help out because he's already slowing the cast speed, and now he's
Yep.
going to reduce the damage. Sphinx has teched in a Master Yi, though. So this could
Yeah.
be good because he doesn't need his ultimate to deal as much damage, and maybe he can pump out enough deeps to carry the fight. The Nami's still going off, getting a pretty big knockup, and this Yi is still just going. Finally gets taken down by the Kog'Maw, and
It's
Singed is
close.
still alive though.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it came down to the last few bounces if they had if that Brand ulti had been cast a bit faster or not. it could be anyone's game right now. It just depends on some positioning. It depends on what DV8 does with the rest of his gold. DV8 finds the Dragon Claw, which is going to be very, very good versus these mages. So huge pickup there.
Yeah, another great item to pick up, but if you're having mana troubles due to the poison, why not pick up more mana? As we see Sphinx pick up a Seraph's.
Yeah.
He's going to have an additional mana, try and get the cast off before the poison even gets applied.
Dude, see the roll down here. Maybe going to go... Oh, the Crystal Lux. That's a pretty good unit to pick up, I would say, here. Has 4 crystals. Yeah, it's okay with putting a Taric in front now. Taric only, as well as all the crystals, only take 60 damage maximum right now. That's a pretty strong pickup. Ooh, does hit the Zephyr on the Kog'Maw, though. DV8 didn't really scout well enough against that.
That's definitely huge, and then the knock-up to follow, a lot more damage coming out. The Kog'Maw hasn't had much uptime yet, but these Lux lasers are coming out, and really, like, it wasn't even close that time.
Oh, that's
slaughtered, and that's just game. Wow.
A crystal pickup there, I think, did a lot of work. The Taric lived long enough to ulti, and congrats to DV8 for taking a win here. We'll have updated scores for everybody in very, very soon to see who made it into the top 3, top 4 mark to get a portion of these bits and to see who's returning for next week. But oh man, that was kind of unexpected overall, that game, I would say. Didn't expect to see Striving Light going out in 8th place there, but Sphinx, with the consistent placements, I think top 4 every single game. So yeah, very impressive there. Unfortunately, though, no DXN redemption arc, Casa.
No, I didn't get my DXN redemption arc. If anything, it was bad ending for DXN. We end up having him. I think we're not gonna get him back into Fight Night this next time, which will be a first for quite a while that we've had him here as kind of a mainstay of Fight Night, constantly being in the top 3. So that is unfortunate. But what we do know is congratulations to Sphinx. We do know he picked up the first place, and not far behind him was Striving Light with still. Unfortunately, the 8th place sours it a little bit, but still one of the most impressive performances we've ever seen at Fight Night, and still somehow ending up in 2nd place, strictly due to the fact that Sphinx performed so consistently throughout the entire tournament. So really well done. And we do see Faye, still I would say still the queen of Fight Night. I mean, she's won so many of them. She's constantly here, always making top 3. Is still going to be top 3, and we will see her returning next time.
Yeah, those placements. I mean, she got 5th that last game, but besides that, she had top 4'd every single game. So yeah, the top 3 being Sphinx, Striving Light, and then Faye. We then have Professsor TFT, I believe, in 4th. He's a lot of numbers. Yeah, DV8 in 5th, and DXN, ZZ Rick, and Chicken with Boba. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
no interview today, but really congrats to Sphinx. Very well played. We will see him in 2 weeks, as well as both Striving Light and Faye. Really well played by all of them. Huge shout outs to Striving Light for coming in here, taking 2 first places out of this set of games. I mean, absolutely incredible play from her. A real treat, real surprise from one of the new players. So excited to have her back.
Definitely exciting to see, these new players, this new blood, take some pretty dominant victories. I think Striving Light was still the only player tonight to secure 2 victories. I don't even think Sphinx took 1 victory, but had 2 seconds and 2 thirds. But I mean, the consistency there, I have to really admire that from Sphinx. Really good play, extremely good play. But I think that about wraps it up. No interview, unfortunately. I would have really liked to ask some questions, but that's okay. Perhaps next time we can get one. Any closing thoughts from you, Casa, about tonight?
Geez. I mean, all in my head, I still just see that Zed play, and I just kind of, I just got the clown car music going off in my head right now. I can't think of any closing thoughts, so I'm good. Just make sure that you guys come out here, cheer for who you want to win. Make sure you're, sending those cheers in, contributing to the bounty. All goes towards what we're doing here. It goes towards the players, goes towards the crew. Shout out to Jules as always for making it run so smooth. But yeah, thank you guys.
Of course. Our next show is going to be, I believe, on December 12th. So a couple more weeks. The action will return here on twitch.tv/HeroesHearth. Make sure to hit that follow button so you can get notified, so you can be back right here to watch these trending players. We got Sphinx, we got Striving Light, and we got Faye, of course, Queen of Fight Night. But maybe Striving Light will have something to say about that in a couple of weeks. But I think that is going to be it for all of tonight. Man, that Zed play, I'm gonna be thinking about that too. That was definitely the highlight of tonight. But on that note, everyone, have a good one. Peace out. We'll see you next time.